And we are live, another WrestlePurists podcast hosted by myself, Joe Hulbert, Manny the Hooper, and Charlie, the usual cast. Today, we are going to be reviewing AEW Dynamite Blood and Guts, very special time of year, and it was a very, it was chaos, wasn't it? It was, we got a lot to get into in that match, and of course the show itself, and a few other little things that have been floating around, discourse, whatever you want to call it, well, whatever questions you want to send us as well, but we're going to be here talking wrestling for the next hour and a half, 2 hours, however long it goes. First things first, please like, subscribe, super chat if you're in general is always appreciated, and turn on the post notifications. Hope everyone's doing good. Starting with my fellow co-host, Manny the Hooper. You enjoyed Blood and Guts, didn't you?
Yeah, it was fun.
That mellow of a reaction after the watch-along shift that you put in last night, you was jumping up and down, you were squealing and screaming, it was a lot, and now he's just, a little deflated, man.
Well, to be fair, I forgot half the match. So, it was a long match.
It's okay. You don't have to, we ain't going to reenact it tonight. You'll be all right.
It'll be good, man. Hulbert, how are you doing now, man?
I feel like shit, to be honest. I keep trading wins and losses with this flu that's made up most of my July. And I'm here nonetheless as a professional, because I know that Manny's one of the 4 people on this show, so I had to be here, if we're being honest. So I'll try my best here this evening. I apologize in advance for any unnecessary, kind of sniffles or coughs. I'm going to try and mute accordingly, but I'm here. That's all I got, folks. I'm here.
Don't worry, Dave had a cough for a year.
That's why I told myself. I looked in the mirror. I was like, Dave would have done it. It's fine.
You'll be good, man. Just throw some dirt on it. Charlie, I hope you're good because our other co-host here, we might be fucked tonight.
Yeah, I'm pumped. I loved Blood and Guts. This is it was one of the big moments I was waiting for with AEW. Kota Ibushi was finally here, so I'm doing great. It was great for me.
Oh no,
the watch along was a lot of fun, and I apologize to anyone that I was screaming in the ears of because there were some moments in that match.
Yes, absolutely. Such as you just shamelessly hoping for fire, hoping for tables, hoping for fire.
I didn't care about the tables, but I was into the fire. I was into the fire. But alas, we didn't get it.
Yeah. Look at the live chat's already getting started on Buddy Matthews, Joe Hulbert. It's he's on quite the journey, isn't he?
He didn't wrestle last
Buddy
night.
Matthews.
He's wrestling on Collision this week, money.
He's wrestling something else right now,
Well, fair.
Listen, I could easily, me, Joe. I don't give a shit about these things. It pops me, but I don't give a shit. But when I see the chat, just it's all the.
Oh no, you have to.
The need to,
when the
I
crowd
need to hear Manny's opinion on Buddy Matthews and how he's feeling right now.
Bro, when he tweeted that clip on Tuesday, and I said, man, that's a happy couple. I don't know what to tell you. There's no way you can fake that kind of happiness. You see the way Rio was looking at him, I was like, I wish him the best. And then same thing with Buddy, man. I hope you, find love in lore. I don't know what to tell you, bro.
Is this you announcing that it's over,
It's over for him, bro. That video was a nail in the coffin. Well, he might like that. So, I don't know.
I don't know, man. Charlie, you're the only female on the panel,
Yep.
Buddy Matthews, what's he got to do here,
I don't know how much he can do other than go back to WWE at this point. But the damage is done, man. That Rhea clip was crazy. She did not hesitate. She just came out and said it, and it's it's in character, but people are gonna run with that. I hope Buddy Matthews has a good match on Saturday. He deserves it.
There was a sparkle in her eye.
That sure was something.
She's just, I don't know, man. It's you see Buddy when he reacts to any of it, like sometimes he'll play along, and then sometimes he'll seem like a little bit triggered, and it's like, ooh, you know.
Yeah.
But
You should really just one or the other, you know. Never respond to it or go all in.
Yeah,
Wait
man.
Manny, whole deal, you know.
He should go absolutely along with it, you know. He's too deep in now, you know. Start I don't know. It's he's got himself into what you said, Joe. You either got to just say nothing or go all in. You know, you can't dip your toe in, because this is how you end up just becoming, you know, the topic on Twitter for the day. You know,
I know he's getting it in the locker room, bro. There's no way that the guys aren't giving it to him in the locker room every time they see him. I've been in enough locker rooms to know, bro. Like, these guys are just telling him not to.
That was despicable, Hooper. That was not necessary.
It's also not the way I thought you were going with that statement, but
yeah, I mean, that's an issue also. There's enough material without you throwing out claims like that. Decorated athlete, Manny the Hooper.
It's, you know, I'm sure he's enjoying Twitter tonight, you know. Hey, man, Rhea and Dom are having all the fun in the world with it, you know. Seeing all the tweets and making people doing more tweets, you know. They love it. Yeah. They're over. They're successful. They're popping numbers in NXT, you know. It's real music, Joe, you know. It's a real throwback, you know.
The rating was very funny. That was very good.
Yeah.
Hey, good stuff. It's good stuff. But yeah, hope Buddy finds a way to I don't know, you know. I'm sure they're happy, but it can't be fun, like fucking just being dunked on relentlessly, you know. It's
He may not have logged in, to be fair. You know?
No, they all do now. That's the problem. That's the problem, Joe. They all do now, bro. Like, it's what you want, you know.
If he wasn't logged in, bro, a lot of people must have blown up his phone with the text messages and all that, bro. Like, he's checking in on them.
Thing is, though, look, if they actually split up for like normal reasons, you know, not outside of Dom, like, you know what Twitter would do with it, you know. Like, these are the situations that people get into, you know. But yeah, man.
It's kind of funny when she broke up with him. Like, oh, you're a 6-man tag champion, you know. I'm a world champion, you know. We just there's different tiers to this, you know.
Levels to the game.
Hey, man. I don't know what to tell you. But yeah, that's what's been going on Twitter today over the past couple of hours. Yeah, man. Shout out Rhea Ripley. What else has been going on Twitter today? People have been getting very angry about Dark Order shorts, haven't they, Charlie?
Yeah.
It's you know. I
have feelings about it.
What are your feelings about it, Charlie? Tell the people.
Dread. I don't want that match at all in, so I'm like, please stop trying to make this a thing right now. Or do it in 2 weeks and then let the Hung Bucks move on to other stuff. I don't know. I just, as much as they're going to do the match again and whatever, I just don't want it right here.
I feel like it's pretty fair to say that, like, at least with I won't even say the majority, but a very large percentage of the AEW fan base are kind of fearing that this is a possibility for All In. The Dark Order versus Hangman and the Young Bucks, you know. Joe, I was told that you'd be quite happy about this.
Was you? Yeah. Check your sources, mate. I haven't said that to anyone, not even in jest. I mean, it feels like it's very feasible at this point, right? Unfortunately, but I don't know. I mean, I think it goes without saying that if it does happen, it won't be because, like, the Bucks are being cornered in the matter. They seem to love working with those guys, so
yeah,
maybe they're saying up their sleeve. Well, yeah, I wasn't going to say it, but yeah, Charlie, it is pretty unfortunate. I mean, it's not.
I already buried the Dark Order on the live stream last night. Anything I say now, it's just I've already said it before.
I just feel like there's got to be bigger things. I mean,
it's got to be another way.
Like, there's a lot of bigger things.
When they announced Wembley, if I'd have come on this show and said, "Here's my plan, guys. What if the Hung Bucks work the Dark Order?" Charlie may have legitimately punched her webcam, like, directly in. He's like,
Yeah.
I think that kind of is telling in some way. But
We wouldn't be able to be at a
maybe-
show together. Would have been ugly.
Yeah, exactly right. So it's just, I don't know.
This
Like-
is, this is when FTR and the Bucks make magic. They main event a 100,000 per people arena. But
It should absolutely be FTR versus the Young Bucks. Like, it's very obvious.
Yes.
But whatever.
as a main event.
It
Like,
would
I
be
know
one of the big
Aussie
matches of the
Open
show,
now
yeah.
appeared, and that's probably going to be the all-in match. Which, like, don't get me wrong, it's also a great match to
Yeah.
do it all in with FTR. But the Bucks, man, you can't have them against the Dark Order. I'm sorry, like, we're not in PWG anymore. It's
Aussie
still what it is, man.
Aussie Open are awesome, but they would be much better suited. Like, if one of these two teams is going to be in like a trios match that's inevitably a cool down, it should probably be Aussie Open. Like, they have time ahead of them, like
Yes.
the Bucks and FTR are the two teams of the last decade, I guess you'd say. More so for the Bucks, obviously, but last decade they're the two teams. You got to put them in Wembley Stadium; they'll steal the show. But I don't know.
Absolutely. Then do the trios match all out for all I care.
Yeah.
There is that very loud section that that want this.
I need them to
There
be
is-
quiet.
There is that section, the Dark Order loyalists. Charlie, you was one of those people once upon a time.
Yeah,
Martin,
man.
like
for
Things
those people.
happen.
He's just insulting everyone tonight.
Monty, those
There is
people are called
nothing
perverts.
fundamentally wrong with the Dark Order. Do I think they deserve to be in this spot at Wembley? No. I don't care if it's like you've been here forever, like, here's your Wembley spot. It's just like, give them another match. I don't care. It doesn't need to be against the Hung Bugs.
That's the
I don't
thing.
care
is,
about the story.
the match will be good because they have good
100%.
matches. They're good professional wrestlers, but they've been so kind of in the background for most of 2023. And I don't. That doesn't mean you can't rejuvenate them and give them a new push because there's nothing wrong with that. But there's levels and when you have one of your top guys and your top team as a trio, they could probably be doing bigger things at your biggest show ever than Wrestling Evil Uno in the game. But I don't know.
You know what? I'm going
It
to
is
come
an
up with a new
underground
unit.
match all out. I don't know.
Yeah.
Sorry, Randy.
I was going to say, I'm just going to call the people that say they've been here since day one perverts.
I haven't even been here since day one.
Who?
Dark Order.
Yeah, they've been here since day one, right? They were there at the first All In. That's when even though
Debuted on Dynamite. Whatever. I remember this. Why does Manny do this to me?
Evil Uno sounded like a pervert throne. I remember that. I remember him sitting like on a throne of
That was on a Dynamite.
That wasn't on a that was it all out.
Is that all out?
Yeah. I remember something
They
that
done that all out.
look it
Oh
up.
man.
You've lost me. Manny is right. It's first time for everything. Sorry, that was very
Yeah.
spiteful.
I mean,
That was quite spiteful.
What?
I get a little bit wound up.
Is this
about
show
that.
real? Are we on the air right now? You live?
Well,
This
what's
thing
up,
on?
Joe?
Well, I could have
What's up?
swore for a moment there that we began to debate when Dark Order debuted. I think that's what just happened on this show, didn't it?
Dark Order
Me
closed up.
and Manny. I think Manny may have won that one.
actually, I got the
Manny
date wrong.
misinformation. Now I'm confused.
It was Fight for the Fallen. But
They were
it's
at
still the
pay
same.
per view where Orange Cassidy pulled up. Awesome. Anywho,
So we still didn't get to the bottom of it. That's the beautiful thing about this, So we've been told it is. Here we go. We've got All Out. We've got Fight for the Fall in 2019. The first episode of Dynamite. Manny's right. Manny misinformation. I don't know what the fuck's going on here.
All I'm gonna say
let me
was
do it.
for-
Let me do it.
for a big hero, Chris, man. If Orange was a big deal, you remember the pay per view he debuted on. That's all I'm gonna say. Everybody remembers.
People that just name it pay-per-views.
Everybody remembers when the Rock debuted.
The fucking with us, Joe. Anyway, all right. Dark Order. This is what the Dark Order do to these podcasts. They just fucking send it a certain way. Joe looks like he's amazed right now. He's startled, scared,
Okay, so
worried. Charlie
25th
has
of
answers.
May 2019, Uno and Grayson were repackaged and made their surprise debut as the Dark Order. So that was a Double or Nothing
They
2019.
were day one. They were there on day one.
They were there. I have no memory of this.
Day one
Yikes.
perverts.
Okay.
All of that.
We got there. It took us about 5 minutes, but we got there.
Christ alive. I'll be right back.
See, Joe, what I did.
And now she's gone. Anyway,
that's when a comedian starts a joke at the beginning of the special, and it never gets to it towards the end, and he ties it all in together. That's what I.
That was exactly what you did. That was exactly what just happened, folks. Man, he just did an extended comedian bit right there.
Speaking of extended comedian bits, Jack Perry versus Hook. That's what we're kicking off the AEW Dynamite with, you know. There was a video package where Jack... You okay, Charlie?
Yeah, continue.
All right, Jack Perry versus Hook. Starts off with a video package, and Jack Perry, you know, he's burying the old Jack Perry. He's burying Jungle Boy, you know. He's burying this guy in the old... in the Jungle Boy boots, and you know, he fills in the hole and gets in the limo. He drives away, and that's it for Jungle Boy. You know, he's done, and then he comes out to Beethoven, and it's definitely an experience. You know, I can't quite expecting that, and he's the new FTW champion. He beats Hook after a lot of shenanigans and stuff. You know, he hits him with the bout shot. He hits him with low blows. He does a lot. This was Jack Perry's first time to kind of have an extended kind of display of him as a heel, you know. Definitely interesting. I still don't quite buy into it, to be honest. Putting it very lightly. Manny, are you into this Jack Perry heel thing?
Not really. I mean, I'm gonna let it play out. I was concerned that he was using the Jaws theme song, and then I realized no, he's using Beethoven. So I mean, we'll see where this goes.
You said that on stream yesterday.
Yeah,
I was
I know.
just like, no, this is not Jaws.
Yeah, because I didn't watch the match. I just came in right after, and I just heard da 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 da, and I said, "Fuck, what is this, Jaws?" But you know, we'll see how this plays out. The match was all right. You know, probably Hook's first real match, and it was really good. Can't wait to see what he does. I just can't wait, and I can't wait for him to drop Jungle Boy back on his head again, because that was awesome. Young Taz.
Charlie, are you looking for Jack Perry to get dropped on his head again?
I wouldn't quite phrase it like that, but yeah. Like, I'm looking forward to them having a rematch. I thought this was like a really solid show from both. Regardless of Jack Perry's heel stuff outside of the ring, he's adjusted to the moveset as like wrestling as a heel really well. And like that shot of him, like when he pinned Hook, like him just smiling because he knew what he had done, that was a pretty good shot. So I think he'll put it all together eventually. I'm not all in on it yet, but I thought it was pretty good for where they're both at in their careers. So.
You know, I'm a fan of Hook. I kind of worry to see what they'll have next for him after this Jack Perry thing. You know, you don't want to kind of see him fade as as what seems to happen a lot around there. But Joe, are you in on this Jack Perry heel? What you've seen so far, anyway?
I thought this was very encouraging. From a performance point of view, I actually thought he did a hell of a job. The presentation is currently like a blend of ideas. It's his first match, so they'll eventually find something more cohesive in terms of the look, the music, the way he carries himself. That, you know, you have room to kind of grow into that. But from a actual performance point of view, I thought he killed it, to be honest with you. He was cowardly, but not so much so that it felt like extreme. They used his more restrained moveset. They explained that as him not wanting to give the people what they want, so to speak. And I thought he did a tremendous job. I thought he was much better than expected, to be honest with you, wrestling as a heel. And on the other hand, I mean, Hook, this was a challenging situation. A first match as a heel on one side and Hook's first real substantial match at all on TV, really, right? There wasn't a gimmick match.
Yeah.
I thought the match kicked ass. I mean, I think the finish was a little weak. I think if you were going to, you know, do the ref bump, you could have had just an extra beat to it, something slightly more elaborate than the belt shot. That's a nitpick, but I really enjoyed this. I thought it was very good, and I think Jack's going to be given a real something to play with here with this belt. I think it's going to make it a lot easier for him to get heat beyond just like, you know, you've changed, bro. It's
Yeah.
like he can really have fun with pretending this is the most prestigious prize in wrestling. So I think this was very good.
There you have it. We had to see there was a secret meeting. Don Callis and Jericho, they're out for dinner. They're up to something, Joe.
Well,
You still like how they're doing this?
I mean, Alex Marvez, his segments are funny. If that's what they're going for, bravo. They're very consistent in that regard. I don't know if that's quite the idea, but him, whispering, "This is great stuff," as they got this footage of Jericho talking to Don Callis was quite the deal. I mean, this was whatever. It took up like 30 seconds. I'm not mad about it, but I would say that this was not quite as good as the prior segments. No.
Fair.
Yeah.
Speaking of not as good as the prior segments, we had MJF and Adam Cole out for dinner, and I think it's fair to say that we've spoke glowingly about these these skits that they've been doing the past few weeks. But fuck, man, this one last night was not hitting, bro. Manny, they were out there, they were trying spicy food, and they hit a double clothesline on a waiter, and it kind of. I don't know, man. It didn't hit quite like the past few weeks, did it, man?
No, they didn't. I don't remember the past ones either. So I will say the I did laugh when the waiter did say that they were drinking 100% alcohol, and then when the camera cut off when they're about to hit the double lariat. I think that was very cinematic. I thought that was very good.
I'm glad you enjoyed that, man. Joe, did you enjoy this? Are you a fan of spicy food? Where do you find yourself on it?
Two very different questions there. I like spicy food. I did not enjoy this. I mean, here's what it is. It's like, I thought this would have popped you, money. This was very NXT, I thought. Especially with the music they use in the background. Very NXT.
I think he would have liked it if it was like Tony D and Stash,
Maybe, yeah. I mean, the live stuff.
Tony D and who?
It wasn't Stash. That's his name now. That's his name now, Stash.
I didn't know if anyone else clocked it, so I wasn't going to say anything.
I mean, there was some funny moments within it.
Yeah, it wasn't not terrible. It just wasn't.
No.
It didn't reach the levels of
It
the
didn't
other.
feel. Yeah, I don't think there was a ton of thought put into the kind of general concept. It was the sense I got. I could be wrong, but whatever.
Man, who knows, man? Again, it was. He was pretty good. He was pretty good, but the other ones were like great. Maybe some people enjoyed it more. We're getting a lot of L's in the chat, Joe.
You know what it is, bro?
If you're one of the people that it was your favourite one, then
I haven't been able to breathe through my nose for the last week, bro. I don't give a fuck. I've taken enough else.
Maybe you need some of that spicy food.
I'm confused. Where did they eat this spicy food? Was it in Florida or was it in Boston?
It was in Boston. They said that in the videotape.
I was about to say that was like a pretty nice building. I like the theme of it.
Cool.
I just didn't think. I just was wondering because that's like a Florida themed restaurant.
They're leaning into a lot of the stuff that Adam Cole does outside of wrestling. Like he has this whole chili beast thing where he was trying to build his spice tolerance, and people that used to watch their streams would pop for that. But it's like I didn't enjoy this one that much. I've kind of hit my limit on these pre-tapes, and I kind of hope that was the last one of this style personally. Because I think there's a lot more you can do with this tag team outside of these pre-tapes and their bonding sessions and whatever. And now they're through the tournament. Do we still need them, or should we just leave it alone now? That's kind of where I'm at with it.
The bro sessions, as they as MJF calls them.
Yeah.
Oh no, man. Oh no. We'll see.
I need one more video of them in England. Them on the red big buses, and then England. Messing with the big red buses, and then with the guards outside that palace you guys have. I think that'd be kind of funny stuff.
Buckingham Palace?
Buckingham Palace.
Cultured
you
Money
want
the
them to
Hooper.
go London.
Super cultured Money the Hooper, But yeah, the MJF Adam Cole segment, it was it was pretty good, but it just the other ones were great, I thought. So that's kind of where I'm finding myself on it. But still, good stuff. MJF Adam Cole, everyone loves them. Next up, I believe this was next up anyway. We had a Britt Baker squash. We was in and out of there. This has caused a lot of discourse because there's not really much to talk about for the match itself. Like it was what it was, But a lot of people, it was like, how long did it take up on the show? Like 3-4 minutes, if that, And obviously that was kind of the only women involvement on the show last night. So obviously I know Chris Statlander was like in the background of a pre-tape, but I know, of course, it's a weird one, isn't it? Because obviously it's blood and guts, so like that's like half the show, boom, gone. Then I get that you've got the MJF and Adam Cole stuff that you really want to drive home, and that's a big thing that you're doing at the moment. Did the Hook Jack Perry thing have to be this week? That's probably the only thing that you could have maybe moved around to do something a bit more expansive with the women's division. And that's not to make excuses for AEW at all, because I quite frankly think the booking of the women's division is fucking garbage. But that's not to say that New York are doing it any better. So, yeah, man, where do you kind of find yourself on? It did feel like just having Britt on a match just to make sure we've got a woman on the card, But
it was just for the pop, wasn't it?
Yeah, I guess it's just. I don't know,
like
man.
It's kind of a double-edged sword, because if they didn't do any women's match, they would have got a lot of shit for it. But because they were in Boston as well, if they did a substantial women's match, everyone would have been like, well, where was Mercedes after? Even though AEW has done nothing to tease it. Like, it would have happened on Twitter, because it happens every time they even go near Boston anymore. So, I don't know. I didn't care overall. Maybe that makes me not a real fan of women's wrestling, but there was just kind of more important things on the card, and it happens that way sometimes. I don't know.
So,
the thing
Blood
is,
and Guts,
yeah.
3 years of Blood and Guts, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Blood and Guts 1, Britt Baker defeated Julia Hart in 90 seconds.
Right.
Blood and Guts 2, Jade Cargill defeated Layla Gray in 1 minute and 55 seconds. And Blood and Guts 3, we had, of course, Britt and Kayla Sparks in just 1 minute and 6 seconds. Feels like after 3 years, they could have been like, let's put a significant women's match on Blood and Guts, Like,
yeah.
I guess it's kind of, this discourse is always, it goes in circles, and I totally get why, but like, the division feels like it's regressed again, which is unfortunate.
Yeah,
because it felt like there were baby
It's
steps being
circles
taken.
around, man. It's
Joe, what was the second match you said? Brett versus who?
Britt and Julia was the first one. Jade and Layla was the second one. None of them have crossed 2 minutes.
the significant 2 minute mark,
That's why, because it's a thing I remember we've talked about. I remember this has been a thing previously when I've covered Blood and Guts here and elsewhere. It's like, I think it's a shame.
Yeah.
Last fall, I thought Tony Storm did a quite admirable job. Like, trying to kind of, with just matches alone, elevate the belt and the division.
Yeah.
I wish he did a good job of that. And then Jamie got the belt, and there was good signs. And I think it's easy to forget we started the deal with the Outcast angle, and there was room to be, encouraged by that. Because the Outcast angle, for its very many faults, it did look like it was a chance to expand the division's kind of reach on the show, because it was an angle. And unfortunately, it's just stuck. It's completely it's just going in circles. So it's like, it's really unfortunate, because the talent, I think at this point, it goes back, like, the talent has improved a lot, I think it's fair to say.
Yeah.
Which makes it...
Yeah, but the talent's always been better than its
But
significance.
it's got a lot better, though, right? Like,
Yeah, definitely has.
Yeah.
But it's like, it feels like with the women's division, it's like when a woman kind of somehow gets herself going with some momentum in terms of like match quality, like getting over on Twitter and, I guess popping the boys in the back and Tony on the headset, You saw it with Shida, like when Shida was having a lot of banger defenses, like they felt more significant, and they started feeling like they were presented a certain way. They started talking about the length of a reign, etc., etc., etc. Jamie Hayter, her kind of ascension, like that was, a lot, very match heavy. She got herself over very much in those. And Tony Storm's this reign that she's had now, like, and her capturing that title is like, when she felt a little bit hotter, it was when she was having these banger matches and was allowed to have these banger matches. But in terms of like focus, from day one, it's always
That's
been
the
about
issue.
focus.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's always been
Yeah.
about focus.
No, let's be clear. I use that blood and guts point just to kind of stress that this wasn't something that crept up on them. It's happened every year. That's what I was trying to get across there. But let's be clear, it isn't a match time situation. Obviously, in an ideal world, there would be, you wouldn't have a squash match as the single women's match. But the issue is more that there is just clearly a lack of true. Let's be honest about it. There's not a lot of attention put into it from a creative point of view. It always feels like the last thing they get to. And it's unfortunate. I mean, I struggle to kind of at this point, it's so apparent on the show that it's just like it's part of the recipe. It fucking sucks, to be quite honest.
Yeah, there's just no further. It's just not what they do very well. Every now and again, like some of the examples I just gave, like someone will kind of break the mold a bit, and and they'll be allowed to kind of have a nice little run of bangers. But as we've seen time and time again, it kind of peaks out a little bit, and it's like Jade, man, like Jade Cargill. It's like fucking. She don't even sound like she wants to come back, And I think where we was with her at one point, like I know no one, she's never been one for the match guide for most people, but fucking hell, there's a lot of star potential there, and she was coming along at least to a point where she could just have TV matches, and when you got someone like Jade Cargill, like, not to make excuses for anyone, but does she need to be having like 4-star matches? If you get the presentation and everything else right with her, and you keep her stuff interesting. But that's just one example of many. Someone mentioned in the chat earlier, Chris Statlander. She's been back for a month and she's already kind of faded into the background. She came back with a big bang, winning a title, confetti, everything. People were happy to see, and now she's, the division just lacks focus, man. It's like we'll go round and round. Not Joe mentioned before, like we circle round and this always comes back up, but it's the same core problem, So
I'm gonna say that 2 things. One, all those women that got squashed on Blood and Guts eventually did some big things. Julia Hart, House of Black, Layla Gray, the baddies, and then we'll see what happens to what's her name,
Kayla Sparks.
Kayla Sparks, let's see what happens to her in the future. And the thing with Chris Statlander, bro, you would have thought they had some big plans for it because they kept the title.
You would have thought.
You would have thought, yeah.
Yeah, because they kept the thing on Jade for a long time, just like, oh, Chris is gonna be the one to do it. Chris is gonna be the one to do it. Hey man, I saw her yesterday. I said, oh shit, man, she's still here. I mean, like, I didn't realize she was back, and then. It's just a kind of disappointment for the fans that are into women's that like the women's roster and all that. Like they just do nothing with them, and you thought they were on the right track with Jamie, and then Jamie storyline fell apart with the Outcast. So I hope they get everything back together soon because it's really like
that Outcast story. I really want to know what happened there because they were on track with something even after like the weeks of like the rinse and repeat segments. They were starting to do something again, and then Jamie got injured, and I guess that kind of screwed a lot up for him. So
it was already definitely going in circles, but I do wonder what would happen if Jamie was healthy.
I really thought everybody thought they were going to go for Blood and Guts. They were, and then
I did think for a while,
and then they just kind of dropped everybody, and they didn't want anybody associated with anybody anymore. So I wonder what happened. Because Tony didn't when you listen to Tony do the interview, I only saw the quote, but he didn't really seem too enthralled with the women's War Games match. So
can someone's asked in a live chat about Kylie Ray?
Isn't she pregnant?
I think she is.
Yeah, she's pregnant.
And she had a trial at WWE, didn't she? And they didn't sign her, and then she got pregnant.
Devil's Rising. They're saying make Rampage a women's show, but I'm telling you, nobody's gonna watch that. Nobody watches Rampage already.
I would.
Yeah, but do you not think it would have?
That would make me watch Rampage.
Yeah. It would have more an identity as the women's show than what it is now, right? Which is like the leftover food of AEW TV. I don't know. I mean, I think that's actually saying that's I think Tony Khan has liked that idea previously, and I'm not totally convinced the network has. To be honest, from my very limited understanding of the situation. But I think that would be a cool thing to give Rampage. Like, at least it would have its own, purpose in the promotion. The concern would be that all the women's wrestling in AEW would just be in that place. That would be the concern.
Yeah, you'd like ideally we'd use Rampage as like a destination show sort of thing where you can for the women anyway. So like you can do angles and stuff on Dynamite, and you can do kind of like like angle slash matches, and then you do like the big matches on Rampage to hopefully try and draw people over there. But like you mentioned, man, like the network kind of that is something we've heard, but like the network isn't very fond of it when that has been suggested to them in the past. So.
Yeah.
Maybe they could try suggesting it again. I don't know when that was suggested, but maybe they could try suggesting it again,
Someone made a point of that Brian was injured, but they still did the men's blood and guts. It's a little bit different than Amy Hayter being out, because she was like the top woman of the division. Like, she was the champion. Like, it's a little bit different.
Yeah, it's different stories as well, because it's like the Blackpool Combat Club's like a full-on unit. The Elite's a full-on unit, and it was a war of units. You know what I mean? Whereas like there was a lot of personal stuff in the Outcasts of a feud. They could have done something with it though. To be honest, they could have still done a outsiders versus like day ones sort of thing.
I don't want to get hyperbolic. I don't even know if I use the word right, but they like some of these feuds have been going on since the start of AEW or even before AEW. So I mean, that's why I think this match happened, because I mean Kenny and Takeshita have had stuff going on since DDT, and then you had the beginning of AEW with Hangman.
Man, he explaining why blood and guts happened. Like, bro, you ain't got to do this, man.
I know, that's right.
I think I'll say this. I think it sucks that Collision's emergence, like the women's match, is just taking the exact same place on Collision it does on Dynamite. I think that really sucks. Like,
absolutely.
Where's Thunder Rosa, bro? I know.
Apparently there was talk she wasn't.
She's still out, but she's we need her back soon, because she was on the main women advertised for the show. So it's like
she's cooked.
If that's who you're waiting for, to try and build a Collision division around, then. Kind of, we're just gonna have to deal with Julia Hart squashing people for the next few weeks.
That's the other problem, I think, is Tony loves that. He loves that rotation method, right? When it comes to booking, he loves that kind of you bring guys, you heat them up for a couple of weeks, you cycle them out, and it works to an extent for the guys. I think it has flaws, but it does work. But when you're only having one women's match on the TV shows, it's a lot harder for people to get connected to these wrestlers when they see them so infrequently, right? Because you're rotating like that. So it's just, I don't know. It's a shame.
Well, Willow's got some momentum.
She has.
And hopefully you can use that to build on something and have Tony's still doing great, the Outcast isn't exactly disgusting. It's just not very fucking interesting, you know what I mean? So you've got pieces, and that's always been I've said it earlier. From day one, they've always had pieces. The division's even better now, but they've always had pieces to do good stuff with that division. Always. So I don't know what to tell people.
Yes.
It's an evil laugh from Manny. The downfall of women's wrestling in America, and Manny's just laughing about it.
No, I just popped at a comment.
Of course.
What was the comment?
It was the one where Tony rather signed 2023 Chris Hero than Mercedes. You know where the priorities are.
Yeah.
Hey, man.
You know why Manny laughed at that, too.
All right, let's dive in some super chats real quick. Karan, 200 rupees. Mark's the MVP of this match. Without him, it would have been a high quality spot. With him, it was an ultra-violent match with a perpetual undercurrent of danger. AEW's ace.
Real.
Mox was incredible, man.
That's very real.
Mox was. We'll get to it, brother. Of course, but Mox was the one who, if you had to circle one, Mox was the one bringing it. I do agree with maybe the comment's a bit harsh with it, but I get the message he's trying to make.
Yeah.
And another one, another 200 rupees. Appreciate you again. Great main event with a terrible finish, in my opinion. Babyfaces having a 5-on-3 advantage feels weird, and the camera didn't even catch the fact it was Mox that tapped for you. Never replayed it either. Yeah, the lack of replay was something. At least the commentators at least caught it,
Yeah.
Eventually. But yeah, there was a AEW's production has never been something that I myself was put over too much, to be honest.
Yeah.
But last night was kind of one where quite a lot of people noticed quite a lot of things that were worth pointing out as faults with the production last night, and this being one of them. Even the production backstage, like some people, the 5-on-3 advantage, it does. With the baby faces, it is something worth bringing up. But of course, when it just comes to all the camera angles and stuff as well, it's
the 5-on-3 advantage though. Like, there's ways to explain that. Like, there's nuances to the story with that, because it all came back to like Kenny's promo on Dynamite, like how he said how they were gonna win, like with the power of friendship and that, and that's what it came down to. The Blackpool Combat Club, they were relying on people that they didn't have real connections with. Like, yeah, they had a common enemy, but they'd also had problems with like Takeshita and Pac before, so they put their trust in the wrong place and it cost them the match.
Yeah, we'll get into it more later, but I agree.
Yeah,
I think
100%.
conceptually, I think it actually works very well. It's just the execution on production side was
that's what I mean. Like, they could have
Yeah.
like drove it home a bit more. That's what I mean, just like from a production standpoint. But yeah, man. Like Joe said, we'll get to it. Darren Walker, £2. Can't wait for the Max Caster rap on Collision. Yeah, man. Yeah, we'll see. National Cody Fan Club Association, $4.99. Appreciate you very much. The Dark Order shirts really fuels into the elite only feud with their friends and no one else theories. But it does fuel into the theories, But they have worked other people, But they do work their friends a lot, And a lot of people would like to be in that position to do that as well, So
Tell me about it. I do 2 shows a week with Manny.
Manny just nodding.
You always takes him like a champ,
I wish I knew this super chat was coming up. I would have made my 10 hat cap, but there you go.
My
There you go.
10 hat cap.
Oh wait, and by the way,
Incredible.
this isn't the only show that me and Joe do. We also talked on Discord.
Yeah. Oh no, I love Manny. The fact I kick the shit out of Manny so much is simply me telling me that I love him. That's all. He's the best. He's the greatest.
We gotta let Joe off with these things. He's feeling a bit under the weather. It's how he gets over it. It's how British people get over things. You see, we kind of so we just turn spiteful. Seth Rich Rogan, $5. Appreciate you very much. The narrative has been that Kenny and Punk would be the best draw in title feud they could do for All In, but by rating numbers, isn't it Kenny versus MJF? I mean, brother, come on.
Kenny Punk.
That's just like one of those ones. Just like, come on, we're a bit too deep in there. If that's kind of the conclusion.
Kenny and MJF is a big one, though.
It is. It's huge. Huge.
They need to do that at some point.
Yeah.
For the belt.
Yeah. People.
Kenny should win.
Kenny Punk is that's not the one, and it will remain to be the one for the foreseeable future, I'd assume. That doesn't mean that they can't do other huge things. Kenny MJF, that'll be absolutely huge. I hope we see it. MJF versus Eddie, I think that would be huge. There's MJF versus Cole, if they'll stick the landing with them splitting up and stuff, and that'll be huge as well.
I'm still waiting for Kenny versus Eddie. I've been waiting for that
There's
since.
loads of matches, man. They've still got matches to burn through AEW, though.
Absolutely.
But yeah, if you have to circle one, I think it's like unquestionably Kenny Punk, to be honest, mate. Chris Eubank, $2. A stupendous evening of pugilism last night. it was a lot. It was a lot, and we're going to get into it.
was.
Andrew the Giant, £5. Appreciate you very much. Watch Flair versus Rock singles match tonight was real crap. Do you guys have any weird matches that are very two different eras you like?
Jericho and Steamboat from 2009 is fucking awesome. Ricky hadn't wrestled in 15 years and they tear it up. It's tremendous.
Joe and Kobashi.
Yeah,
That's fair.
I don't have an answer to this question. I can't think of anything.
The Briscoes and Rock and Roll Express.
Sure.
I've never seen the match. I just
Oh, no.
What are you
I don't use
talking
answering. I feel like you, me, or Charlie. I don't know.
man. Yeah. Steve can never go wrong with Steamboat, even when he hasn't wrestled in 15 years. Zayd Nadi, 199. That MJF Cole match was an acid trip. Incredible. Yeah, we're going to get to that as well. I think that's next, to be honest. Darren Cagey, $2. Appreciate you. Hey, man, Brits,
if only I can upload the photo.
I mean, you can always send it.
No, he cannot send that photo to you.
He can do it, bro. Shout out Darren Cagey, though. He's popped us.
You're gonna see that, Monty, and you'll be like, "Oh no, I can't post this."
No, you can't.
D-Dubs, 199. Appreciate you. Or get rid of the 3-minute dance break in the tag.
Fair.
Yeah, man. Not when talking about cutting out things that could have made a bit more room for the women on Dynamite last night. But yeah, like Charlie said, I guess fair. The people who pop for that absolutely fucking love that shit, though. You know, so it's one of those things, and that's always a weird one because it's like that segment, that match got given, you know, a certain amount of time, and that's what they decided to do with that, you know. So, Jeremy Ross of Gungai Live, of course, the head writer, the head honcho at WrestlePurists. £2 super chat. He says, "Hello, WrestlePurists." Shout out Jamie Ross, always. Yuzura Hart, $5. My toxic take is that every women's champion at AEW runs out of challengers and then they have to wrestle Anna or Julia or Taya Valkyrie. Then what? Is that take? Isn't that something that you cannot prove, like factually? You know, I don't know.
It's a very toxic. I mean, I don't know. You can't say that.
It's because they have like their top women, and they don't really do a lot to build up other women. So you just end up in this weird, like, place where you have like no feasible challenges. So you just do open challenges all the time instead of doing proper stories, and it gets very frustrating as a fan.
Just do some stories, man.
Just tell a story.
Monty, I DM'd you the picture, by the way.
Oh no.
Here is my live reaction to Manny sending me one of his famous edits.
Hold tight, folks.
I've not got it.
He's loading it now.
No, it's on your. Oh, it's still sending. What the hell?
Alright, keep the questions coming on super chats, man. We've got a nice bit here as usual. We've got 1 minute, man. I'll get to you. Dwight, $4.99. Appreciate it. Can someone tell EB to text me back? I really need to talk to him. Hey, man. Yeah, I don't know what EB's up to at night. You know.
No idea.
He's I don't know what he's up to right now. You know.
Crying about Buddy Matthews.
Yeah, man. We get all these people. Everyone does the beats, and we love the beats in the chat. But you know, throw a question. You know, throw a question in there. Get Manny to say something controversial, you know. All right, Manny, what have you sent me this on? Oh, okay, so he's in. What the fuck?
Oh no!
Why have you edited the gear like that? Like, anyway,
do I want to see it?
No.
Oh no, I'm not sure.
I'll send it to you, Charlie.
Okay.
All right. More super chats before we get back to the show. Showtime Spurs, $5. Appreciate you very much. I love the ending. Love KO's hate. Shout out to Radio Raheem. I mean, cool.
Nice.
Cool. You know. We've got Willow. We've got Willie. $4.99. Appreciate you. Hope MJF works at. Hope MJF works at Hell Show Style Tag versus FTR. You know it pisses territory wrestler Dax off at MJF. Cole gets bigger pots doing much less than FTR. I mean, I doubt. I don't think he's that gotten to. I think he killed it last week. So
that last night. That was like the most. I got really excited for that. I just thinking about Dax and MJF in the ring together. Like, the way the MJF switched from being a comedic wrestler to being like, oh, he started talking his shit while Cole looked concerned and confused. Bro, it was so fucking awesome. That's for the first time I actually felt like MJF felt like the world champion. And I said, man, I was like, in my head, I was like, bro, you talk your shit, bro. I mean, fuck, man. You told Dex what's up and all that.
It was awesome. Absolutely.
And whilst Darwin, how many matches before we start having a dialogue about Ibushi potentially being washed?
Bro.
Well,
He was out for 2 years.
I was going to say, come on, man.
He also re-injured himself when he came back.
He's had a blood sport match, a match against Joey Janela, and a blood and guts. And you're
you came for a little walk in the park at blood and guts,
like he's had 3 matches since the G1 Climax final in 2021. You can't call him washed right now because there's nothing real to judge him on. Like, you can't judge him with the blood and guts match. It's a blood and guts match.
Then before the injury spell, which this is hopefully the end of. This is the signal of the end of it, this big return that he did last night. Because, Charlie said he's been out for the best part of 2 years. Came back for a picnic with the Mania weekend stuff and GCW. And, now he's back again. There's not a lot to judge. And before that, he was in the G1 final, hitting a Phoenix splash, So, it's...
Like, pair the time off with the re-aggravated shoulder. Like, cut him some slack, man.
Yeah,
he'll be fine.
It's last night wasn't exactly the most encouraging performance. He wasn't terrible or anything. I didn't start worrying that he's washed, but he kind of took it easy. We'll get to it. Darren Walker, £5. Keep best friends away from Statlander on TV. Should not be hanging around with those clowns. He's never going to give this up, is he, Darren Walker? This best friends, Orange Cassidy. I respect it to an extent, the persistence of it. If you're going to be anything in love, people, be persistent.
Especially with super chats.
Yes. Mazfan 84, 199. Man, I need an Omega Claudio singles match, dude. I mean, that opening 5, it was some nice stuff going on in there, Definitely a match that I would not be turning down. I don't think anyone would, to be honest. Cody Wills, $4.99. Appreciate you. First show I've got to watch live in a minute. Always enjoy it. Do we do all these versus Roads free at WWE Starrcade on the roads to Mania? Many are asking. Thanks. I'm for it, bro. I'm for it.
Mickey James has been booked for the Rev Pro show the day before Wembley.
She sure has.
Ask questions.
I sent it Charlie immediately.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm. Think we know CM Punk's wrestling, Manny?
He comes out with that's what he has in the bag. The NWA Hero title.
Collision needs its belt, bro.
Aldous was on the first holding. He might get that return booking.
We're talking about the big gold too. We're calling it the NWA. We're talking Punk had the big gold. He may have that in the bag. You never know, folks.
You never know, man. That's some real shit, bro.
Logo.
Mm-hmm.
If it happens, you heard it here first.
Could you imagine?
Could you imagine?
Like a literal like for like big gold with just the AEW logo on it,
Maybe worth trying. I don't know what the courts will say about it, but it might be real.
Whenever MJF and Punk feud, I need him to do a skit of the 7. He's like, "What's in the bag?" What's in the box? But he's just, "What's in the bag?" And
bro, why do you reference 7 on every podcast we do at this point, man? How many times do you watch that film each week? It's incredible.
I've only seen it once.
It's a great film. Fair enough.
Fair enough. But yeah, Nick Aldis, Cody Rhodes, I'm with it. AEW Dynamite, let's get back to it. MJF and Adam Cole. This is the promo, and they're bonding even more. They've got matching trunks. They've got matching jackets. Adam Cole said he's got another surprise for him, and they're getting ready for the match that's about to happen. They get out of frame, and who comes into frame, John? Oh God, Roderick Strong, who has not been having a very good past couple of weeks, has he? He is.
Say that again.
He keeps getting left out hanging, bro. He's out in the cold here, Joe. He's gonna snap soon, isn't it?
So it certainly seems like he was very rude to Renee, which there is no excuse for under any circumstances. So
Never.
I mean, I'm always impressed by Roddy's ability to he was given a single line here and he still gave it the full Roddy in delivery. It sounded like he was in agony as he said it. He's an artist, folks. In that regard, he is an artist. So it's not quite what I envisaged him doing in AEW, but I assume it's going to lead to something big. So I'm happily letting it play out for now.
Yeah, it's a bit. Yeah, But poor Roddy. That's all I keep saying. His friends they keep forgetting about him, bro. It's crazy. Charlie, do you think this could be leading to a Kyle O'Reilly return?
Yeah, I do. I do think that's what's going to happen. I'm very excited, but I don't sound excited, but I am very excited. I love Kyle O'Reilly, and I love his tag team with Roddy Strong. I think they're great together. Yeah, I think especially if MJF and Adam Cole win the belts as well, Roddy's just going to come out, they're going to be cutting a promo in the ring to celebrate, and Roddy's going to come out and be like, well, we're the first challengers, and Cole's going to be like, who's we? And then Kyle O'Reilly's going to come out, and it's going to be great, and I hope that happens, and I'll be sad if it doesn't, but...
I know Manny's fired up for Kyle O'Reilly's return. Everyone knows this,
This is when you add 50 Tom Lawler, and you have him cut their promos for these two guys because I don't know if I want Roddy and Kyle O'Reilly going out there.
He's just talking weird.
Where does Tom Lawler come in?
Yeah, can't they just have one of the 10 managers that are under contract? What does Filthy Tom get? They're a trio now?
Yeah. They're a fight club. They have banners.
Oh, I'm not against it. Fair enough.
Or a Bobby Fish return. No. I'm putting my foot down.
He's bald.
No, that I'd get
He is
just for the
bald.
podcast content. We need that to happen. Yeah. I'm afraid.
I don't. I really don't. I've put my foot down. He's banned. He's not allowed in AEW.
Charlie will put in some calls.
Mm-hmm. Send a message.
Block it from it. Yeah. All right. So Roddy, poor guy. Next up, we had the Blind Tag Team Eliminator Tournament Final. This was MJF and Adam Cole, as previously discussed, versus Daniel Garcia and Sammy Guevara. And before the match, we kicked off with we had a fucking dance-off, Charlie. What in the fucking PWG was this?
I know. I hated that I loved it because it was so PWG, and I loved I still do really like PWG. It was just really funny. And I get, I very much don't like WWE pulled stuff. But because I'm a hypocrite sometimes. What can I say? I enjoyed this. It was very funny to me.
Yeah, they did go full PWG here. Doing it on the big stage, doing it on AEW Dynamite. I don't know. I don't think I'll be surprising anyone who listens to these podcasts when I say, it's not really my kind of thing, but I just checked my phone for a couple of minutes and then they were wrestling. Joe, how did this go down in the Hulbert household?
Caught me off guard, but I thought it was fun. I'm always for, if you're going to do a bit such as this, you have to truly commit. I don't think anyone can accuse these four fellas of fouling on that front. It's definitely a type of wrestling that I don't think the show needs to have a lot of generally. Mm-hmm. But top guys can break the rules, and MJF is kind of an ongoing example of that, and his whole approach is an example of that as of late. So the crowd loved it. So whenever the crowd is into something to this degree, I'm going to be more forgiving of it. And frankly, they committed to it to such a degree. It was fun. It popped me. Mm. It's not something I'm not going to be rewatching it every hour or anything. I thought it was pretty funny.
Manny, what does the Book of Hooper have to say about dance-offs before matches?
It killed the business, bro. I mean, I'm glad I was watching it.
You wasn't into the PWG match happening in front of 8,000 people?
I mean, there's a reason why it's not on, on a streaming service,
Ooh, that was spiteful.
Incredible way of approaching this conversation.
Like, if you want to get into if you want to get into it properly, it's like Adam Cole's getting Max to lean into all of this stuff. Max is getting Adam Cole to cheat in matches again. Like they're just blending their styles. This is what's happening. It just so happened that Adam Cole decided he was back in PWG last night. So
True friendship, man. You just don't get it, you know. you old fucking analysts, just.
I never had a dance off with my friend. I just usually just have a beer or some wings. I mean, I don't know.
They went for Chinese food. It's the same thing.
So would you have preferred that before the match?
Yeah, before the match, just not in the ring. I mean, I'm glad I was watching with my family, like the debonair thing.
All right, man.
Even Desperado said it right, man. He should have been in public when he watched it. I mean,
all right, Manny, whatever. MJF and Adam Cole versus Sammy Guevara and Daniel Garcia. A lot of fun. They finally hit the double clothesline. There was a mashup theme as MJF and Adam Cole made their entrance. MJF was just purely elated by this surprise from Adam Cole. And yeah, man, they're looking like quite the friends out there, matching gear, trunks, jackets. MJF did a dive. This is how much Adam Cole's getting into him, he's got him doing dives and he's doing the indie moves now, Joe, And like I said, they hit the double clothesline for the win. Jericho got aired by Daniel Garcia and Sammy Guevara as they made the way back up the ramp. So, of course, that's planting some seeds further there. What else did we have? There was the awkward bout moment. Adam Cole picks up the AEW World Championship, and he admires it for a second. And MJF catches him in the midst of this, and he's not happy about it. But they calm down, they hug it out. They're still great friends, and they won the tournament. Joe, what did you think of the match, mate?
It was a really good time. I think Max has basically worked. He's pretty much worked 3 house show matches in this tournament, Max and Cole. And I say that as a loving endorsement because I love that kind of wrestling. And when you're as over as these guys are, you can do that. And the people at home are having as much fun as the people in the building, So I've always really, really fun. They had, Sammy was able to, especially late, was able to sprinkle in some of his high spots and stuff. And Garcia was obviously willing to play ball with the shenanigans that emerged throughout the first 2/3. So I enjoyed it. I'm really intrigued as to what that formula looks like when married with FTR's formula of kind of fundamental heavy, hard hitting professional wrestling. I don't know. I think they're going to put a lot of time in that collision match. Man, it's going to be very long, that tag title match. So I'm intrigued as to what, the kind of overlap would be there stylistically. Genuinely interested. I think it'll be great. So I like this.
I really hope they take that match very seriously and they don't do any of the bits before the matches like they did in the first 2. But I really think that's going to be a really great match between 4 really good pro wrestlers. So I can't wait to see it.
Yeah, Charlie, would you, I know you love the dance off and you love your PWG, but, talk to us about the wrestling, MJF, Adam Cole's rubbing off on him like you previously mentioned. He's hitting dives and shit now. He's got to
it. Be huge. I thought the match was really good. I really enjoyed it. These guys had a lot of chemistry in the ring, and it's weird seeing Max wrestle every week. We bitched about it for so long, and now he's doing it. It's just and he's keeping it fresh in that. It's great. I like to see it. The match with FTR is going to be great. Everyone knows that. But I really enjoyed this one. I still think Danny looks like a star in every match that he has. And considering the fact that he was in the ring with Cole and MJF, the fact that he still stood out in that scenario is pretty cool. So shout out to Danny Garcia, real wrestler.
Yeah, when it comes to Daniel Garcia, especially and at least in ring, it's whenever he's thrown in there with real stars, whether that's Danielson whether that's like Mox, whether that's whether that's last night. He always holds it down, man. He's great, and like I said, if he can hang with them, he's got a good reputation, with the audience, whatever you want to call it. And he's got his little dance that gets over as well, man.
Mm-hmm.
Crowd always pops for it. He's got his things. People like him. It's good stuff, man. See what happens with this Jericho thing. Where do you see this one going? Manny, where do you see Jericho? He's losing his two nephews, man. He's losing Garcia and Guevara.
I think we're gonna see Jericho's final swan song. This is gonna be the pinnacle of his last career. We're gonna see some great stuff, and with the Don Callis family. So can't wait to see what's going on. And I'm convinced, real quick, that MJF should be a babyface. Freaking rules.
Yep.
Yeah, I
He
think
sure should be.
it feels like I think the players probably getting to a point where the Roddy element we keep talking about is that him and Cole were actually fucking around all along, and they kicked the shit out of MJF, and like really
Absolutely.
to a level where the crowd is like kind of disgusted by it. Now you have to be very careful with that because MJF is such a established villain that guys doing that to him could easily be framed as just like getting him before he gets you.
Yeah.
But people love MJF, and if you keep just kind of chipping away at that perception, I think the idea of Cole and Roddy both beating up Max and him having no friends to help him, I think people would absolutely boo that. I think that would work.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm kind of leaning right now.
I also think it's a mistake that they're gonna, if they do break them up, they do it this soon.
Yeah, it should be a while.
Yeah.
But it feels to me like, I mean, I definitely think there's a chance they win the belts, and I kind of think they should, and they run it back at Wembley. But it feels to me like they're going to do this next week so they can wrestle each other at Wembley, which is like...
It's very unfortunate.
It is, and it's kind of one of those deals where while I don't necessarily agree with it, it's like, I understand you want to have a world title match at Wembley. It's one of those things that timing sometimes kills you in that regard.
Yeah.
It's a shame.
I don't know, man. If they kept this going and then like they did this whole thing with Roddy and Kyle like challenging to a title match, and then mid-match Cole just turned on Max and beat the shit out of him, Roddy and Kyle win the belts, and then Cole challenges MJF to a match. Like that could be some real TV. Like I'd be real into it.
Mm-hmm. That would be like a full kind of Horseman beatdown from the Undisputed Era guys, right? I like that idea a lot.
I don't like the fantasy book or whatever, but I would have done it around Thanksgiving or Christmas. I would have turned them around a special Thanksgiving or a Christmas episode of Dynamite, to really.
That's fucking beast, actually. Yeah, I like that, Manny.
Like they do the tag title match on like the Thanksgiving episode, and just like him and Cole have been friends for months, and then like the time of giving, he just turns on him. That Pete. That's real TV, man. I'm all in on it.
Or you give him a Christmas gift, and it's just like, like a middle finger or something. I don't know. You just like
suggesting ideas before you've even thought them out. Only the Hooper, real grabs. But yeah, hopefully they continue this a little longer. I hope it does go past next week. To be honest, it'd be cool to see them win the belts, man. It would absolutely, and if they run back the rematch at Wembley, I'm willing to sacrifice the world title match at Wembley for that, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm not all that fussed about a world title match.
Yeah, just for the sake of it as well.
It's a big enough match. Because like having two pay-per-views back to back, like I'm not going to be that fussed if I don't see a world title match, if he's doing something cool enough to like warrant it not being a world title match. So
yeah, just to be totally honest, as a fan who's going to Wembley, if FTR aren't wrestling the Bucks, I would absolutely prefer they wrestle MJF and Adam Cole in a rematch and not do the Max Cole match, personally. I think there is a fair question to be asked as to them, what is the main event of Wembley? Because
I know what my main event would be.
What would be your main event, Charlie?
Omega Takeshita.
So this is the one, because I think we're getting that, right? So that was where I was kind of leaning, but I don't know if Takeshita, while he's obviously talented enough and times 10, I don't know if his presentation has got him to that point where it's like, I don't know. I mean, I'm not against it. I think the show's going to have so many like co-main events, if that makes sense.
Takeshi can't
Maybe
main
one of
event
those.
Wembley, bro.
I just don't feel like he's ready style-wise, yeah.
you said you're not against it. I'm putting my foot down, you know.
What do you think, though, Monty? Like, genuinely, if you do the tag,
They
what
could
do you
do
think main
Punk
event is?
versus Jay White.
Yeah. This is interesting.
Oh,
Jay White's main event in the Tokyo Dome. He can main event Wembley.
Yeah.
And
That'd be
Madison
good for his
Square Garden.
bid, too.
It would be very good for his bit.
Hey, I'm gonna tell you, man. It's a real fucking match.
People just saying no in chat. I'm sorry you don't like my ideas.
I'll just book Punk Omega and figure it out when we get there.
Fuck it.
Yeah, but I mean,
You know?
it doesn't really answer the question.
Oh, I say I'll figure it out when you get there. You know what I mean? Figure it out
But we
on the
want
note.
Punk
You
Joe
know?
5. You can do Punk Joe 5 whenever you want.
Oh, I would do Nigel and Omega, but that's just me.
Me know that's what you'd do.
Take it easy, bro. Nigel ain't wrestled for a while. I don't know if he needs to be taking those V triggers off in 2023, but we just warm up to it a little bit, man. You know, take it easy.
Punk versus Ricky main event, absolutely.
That'd be a better idea. It's interesting. I think there's going to be about 6 different, like, really strong co-main events. It's just what actually closes the show. I don't know.
Yeah.
Let's be fair. I mean, Cole and MJF like would close the show because it'd be for the belt, but like,
Yes.
I don't think it would be necessarily the match that would have Monty kind of going, this is the one, the big box office is what it is.
How would you guys react to that match right there? Anthony Joshua versus QT Marshall.
I'd probably pop.
Probably would. Yeah.
I think
That's so. Okay.
It's wrong. You know.
It's funny.
Alright, man. But yeah, FTR, they had the face off with MJF and Adam Cole. And yeah, man, I'm fired up for this one. As Manny's already said, 4 really good wrestlers having a fucking title match. You know, it's what it's
I
all
rolled
about.
my eyes at FTR coming out and then immediately remembered I had bitched that they didn't acknowledge the tournament. So I was just like, okay, I am being a hypocrite.
Look at the state of Charlie. You know, she just
It happens. It was a visceral reaction. I was just like, for fuck's sake.
you just don't like the sound of real music. You know what I mean?
Their theme song is real catchy.
There you go, man. They've even got the theme. Alright, next on Dynamite, we had this promo with Darby and the Best Friends, and Darby asks Orange Cassidy if AR Fox can have a title shot, and Orange Cassidy agrees, and that's how you get title shots in AEW now, people. I might try it with Joe, you know.
no, thank you.
You know, go to Orange Cassidy and be like, I've got this friend, you know, and it's helped me a lot in the podcast game, you know, helped me find my feet.
Bro, he would kick the
dude.
shit out of me, bro. I can't get through this podcast.
Hey, man, we were over 60.
Imagine me taking a beach break. I'd be dead. It'd be the end of me.
No, but that's the story of the match, Joe. He wouldn't be able to hit you, you know?
What would I be? So would my gimmick kind of be that I had him well scouted because I was a podcast reviewer? I've seen all his
man,
matches.
and you don't fall through shtick, you know? You don't let the hands get in the pockets, you know?
Thinking man's wrestler. Okay, I like it.
Manny's in your corner, he'll fire you up, he'll make you feel like you've got these, you know what I mean? And you're bringing the belt back on to England, mate, you know?
Oh my God. The Hooper in like a tracksuit at ringside.
Lock on, you know?
Yeah. You would playbook.
When the refs distract, I hit Orange the lariat, you know?
Shoots on him.
I crawl over for the pin.
Hey man, these are the things that we'd book, so be careful when asking us questions. But send the super chats, you know, so you can get the real questions in. Alright, where are we? Secret meeting, Don Callis and Jericho. Already covered this.
Yeah, I think so. We covered that.
I think we're at Blood and Guts.
Darby, Best Friends. What else was in that promo? I feel like there was more, but like that I found that just so bizarre that like it's the only thing I wrote down.
It was just that, and then them doing the hands in thing, and Darby and Nick Wayne just walked away. And Chuck Taylor just kept saying Nick Wayne, and it just popped me. He just kept repeating his name.
Alright, Well, fair. No, but correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like we've got to the meat and potatoes now.
We had Don Callis and Jericho arriving at the arena.
See, that's what I fucking
Oh,
There you go.
because I put Don Callis and Jericho, and that's all I had wrote down.
that was earlier because
Oh,
Jericho
and
was
they
on
announced
commentary.
Royal Rampage.
Yeah, I know, that's what I mean. So I've confused it with it being earlier. But yeah, as Charlie
Yeah.
said, Don Callis and Jericho arrive and they're asked about what the plan is, and they don't say shit. So, and now we get to the meat and potatoes. We get to blood and guts. The Golden Elite, the returning Kota Ibushi versus the Blackpool Combat Club with Takeshita, who is accompanied by Don Callis, and also the returning Pac. This was chaos, man. I don't even know where to start. I guess I'll kind of go.
Why don't we start from the start?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like I'll just start with the starting two, and we'll just fucking throw it. I was gonna throw it straight to money. But yeah, Claudio, number 1 for the Blackpool Combat Club, and it was Kenny Omega. Caught me off guard, big pop, surprised me. He was number 1 for the Golden Elite. Manny, your boy Claudio, he was the workhorse, bro. He was the machine in there from the start. He came out walking through the crowd looking like a fucking machine,
Spraying the water all over him.
Yeah, man, he looked like an animal.
I'm going to say, so when you need the job done, you bring in the big guns, and that's Claudio Castagnoli. He went in there to get this going, and him and Kenny, they did their stuff. I think they have more in them. I can't wait for eventual 1-on-1 between them, but man, this was awesome from the start. I didn't really like the Pac interactions that much when he came in, because I feel like it was kind of like, I guess it was kind of forced to try to tell a story, but I didn't like that. I just didn't like them fighting over who's gonna beat up Kenny.
It felt like they had to be overly heavy-handed because they had to set up the Ring of Honor match, right? And that's just I obviously they had not, and the Ring of Honor pay-per-view build has been awful, but to be fair, they had a match for Claudio at least, so that was kind of an unfortunate situation. They had to make something for, and it was very clear in that first segment when him and Pac were disagreeing. It was like, oh, so that's the match. That's clearly the match on Friday. So, it is what it is. But
I guess I didn't like that part. Besides that, it was really fun stuff. And then until Nick Jackson came in, where he was a ball of fire, and I'll just let Charlie take over the Nick Jackson part.
It was good
fucking relay race, like as soon as he gets in,
see the way he gestured?
Mid sentence, he's like, "Well, Charlie," but yeah, Charlie, if you want to talk about Nick Jackson, go ahead, man.
He came in and he did his hot tag stuff, and it was fucking great. He took some crazy bumps in that match. Not even just in that opening section. Obviously, he was getting all his shit off, but he took some insane bumps during Blood and Guts. Like that. Like the fucking, what was it? The brainbuster or the suplex through the chair, and then going through the table in the middle. It was like he was just getting battered by everyone. But yeah, Nick did some really cool shit. I do not remember the order of people who came out. Who was it after that?
Yuta.
It was Utes.
Yeah, it was pretty late.
Did you? I don't know what he did. I can't remember.
It was all,
it was Moxley. It was Moxley.
I think we've already missed Mox.
I was gonna say. I don't think. I was gonna say.
See,
you just went to Nick Jackson, and
we'll start from the start.
Jesus.
Because it was like people weren't expecting Hangman to be the second person. Yeah. I don't know what order they were coming out in at this point.
Right. Yeah, it's because
it was Kenny in the ring, and then they had Hangman come out, and their gears were different. Which is, if you're a law freak like me, is something that you picked up on. Because Kenny's gear was very obviously a reference to Kota, and they were matching, and then no one knew what Hangman's gear was until Nick came out, and they were matching. So it's interesting stuff.
Well, yeah, man.
They're wearing Dark Order colors.
They were wearing Dark Order colors. We don't talk about it.
I feel like like the opening few contestants getting into the match. It was like Claudio and Kenny. That's a great start. They're going. It's nice stuff, man. Wrestling. It's nice. It's nice to see. And like Nick Jackson, he's like we've already mentioned. He comes in, he does his whole he does his hot tag routine. It's always good shit. It's nice, nice wrestling going on. Yeah. But this is blood and guts, Joe. You know,
Yeah,
this is blood and guts until
thought-
Mox got let loose in that cage,
Yeah.
mate. You know, and that's when it all changed. You know,
I enjoyed the first chunk, but in fairness, it did make Moxley's arrival even more awesome because it was like it was a really nice wrestling match. You know, you were waiting for it to pick up, and then Wild Thing hit, and Mox had this like.
you just started
I'm gonna be
stabbing
totally
people
honest.
immediately, bro.
I mean, he's been the wrestler of the year multiple times over, but I kind of think I kind of think that's the best John Moxley I've ever seen last night. To be totally honest, he was like.
He went to
He was
Japan, had a couple of death matches, and he brought all that shit back with him. He was wearing a Junkasai top. It was good shit.
There was like a palpable excitement as he walked to this cage. He was like, he seemed so thrilled at what he was headed into. He immediately began to stab people with a fork. And the match honestly never looked back from that point in terms of the violence.
Yeah.
Moxley was the highlight, and I think Nick actually was the highlight of the elite team, the Golden Elite team. But and it's not a slight on anyone else because the matches like the match overall was very fun. But Moxley, this was an all-time great War Games performance from John Moxley. Like legitimately, I thought he was incredible in this match.
Yeah, he was the game changer for me. You know, so it's like you say. It's like as soon as he leveled up the violence, like he continued like throughout everyone throughout the match, and that's when like, the spots just got like crazy violent and shock inducing, etc., etc. But you know, like I said, it was really nice, really good wrestling from really good wrestlers, you know. And then Mox came in, and that's when the fucking mayhem and chaos really felt, like Joe said, palpable in there. You know, like it was. You could feel it, like the mood changes when Mox gets in there and just starts stabbing people. You know, like
the glass spot is some of the more sick because he gets this bucket of glass and he scatters it. Nick comes down and he just immediately took a bump in it and he was like, fuck it, I guess let's just do it now. It was like he didn't have like a dramatic place for it. He's just like, I need to get this bucket of glass in here. And I mean, it's so awesome.
Moxley just coming here, just stabbing people in the head and the stomach, and then just like, bro, he's fucking awesome, bro. He was wearing a Junkasai shirt. Nobody does that. He was wearing a signed shirt, going in there with screwdrivers and maiming people, blood everywhere. He understood the assignment, bro. That's all you can ask. A lot of these guys, they won't get color besides Nick and Moxley. They were just like, it was just awesome.
Moxley was trying his best to get color. I don't know whether he was meant to cut Kenny and Hangman open and it just wasn't working because he kept going back to it. Like he tried for a good 2 minutes to get color on one of them.
By the end of this match, he legitimately looked like he was like he'd walked out of crime scene.
Every time they cut back, he was covered in more blood, and I don't know where it was coming from.
You couldn't convince me that he wasn't bleeding.
Was covered. It was insane. Absolutely insane.
It kind of looked like he'd scraped the back of his head on one of those nails or whatever the fuck they were like.
No, they were.
I think that's what
Phillips
happened.
screwheads.
Yeah, I think when someone posted that picture last night, I saw that. But
yeah, he's a real animal. You know, there's that real feeling of Mox has been let loose now. You know, and that's what you want in blood games, bro. You know, you want blood that feeling. You want that.
Blood games. That fucking rules. Wait a second.
War games, blood and guts. Blood games, you know.
You figured it out.
I will say too, the announcers, these matches are really hard for the announcers and there's some things they missed, but they did a very good job of establishing the idea that you just put across there, Monty, of when Moxley was making his entrance, they were like, this is the match designed for John Moxley to be most done. It captured it very nicely, I thought. So credit to them on that match at least.
I don't know if a man is supposed to bleed as much as John Moxley. I don't know, but
I don't know where he gets it from.
Yeah, I don't know where he gets all that blood from, man. He's a savage. He was meant for this company.
He didn't let up that entire match. If he wasn't down, recovering from a movie, he was doing something. He just weren't resting.
He's just walking around, looking for stuff to fall in and throw people towards.
You hear these stories of when the people lose that much blood, they're dying. Eddie Guerrero, famous story during that Brock match where he thought he was going to die because all the blood he lost. Bro, Mox, he will lose double that. This is the kind of guy we're dealing with, a true sicko that loves this sport. And the day he leaves is going to be a sad one and we'll never recover from this,
I got to say, the placement of the Red Cross ad, people are talking about it in chat now, it made me laugh a lot. What a fitting ad to have during Blood and Guts.
Yeah. That was a pop.
Always interesting ad placements, But yeah, the violence really picked up, including the bed of screwdrivers, which was a very, very scary visual. Kenny Omega was the first person to feel the wrath of these crazy John Moxley toys that he brought to the ring. Yeah, man, he sets him up, and Moxley goes to throw Kenny Omega into it. Omega puts his foot in the way, which looked pretty painful to start off with. And then, it looks like he's going to reverse Moxley into it, but nope. He gets drop kicked into this bed of Phillips screwdrivers, and then it falls on him as well. It was brutal, man. This was definitely one of the more brutal spots, and that came into play a few times. That bed of screwdrivers, but yeah, man, there was a lot of spots going on there. There was they got up on top of the cage. Pac hung from like the roof of the cage and done like a stomp. Was it to Nick Jackson?
Bro, I can't believe they almost missed that, bro. That's super crazy. Like, how do you miss that?
I'm glad they got the replays from like every angle possible, because the angle they showed the initial one on was a bit shit. But
I also like how Tony Schiavone acted like he's never seen a double stomp before.
Yeah, but have you seen a double stomp from someone literally hanging from the rafters of a cage? Like,
I thought Tony was actually really good in this match, but he had one very unfortunate moment when Claudio was getting ready to feed the buckshot, and he was waiting for a long time, and Tony was like, he sees him coming. He was like, folks, he sees him coming, and before he was just had to stand there and take this back. I mean, it's what it is. Shit happens. There's so many moving pieces. So I don't mean it as a criticism, but Tony probably shouldn't have just guessed on that, It was quite the deal, but it is what it is.
When they were on top of the cage, I thought someone was about to die.
Yeah,
because
that was terrifying. Yeah.
Your reaction said as much as well, Charlie.
Yeah, my reaction on the Twitch live stream, I was just like, oh my god.
It's like you've never watched wrestling before, you thought like Matt Jackson was just gonna like kill a young Wheeler Yuta,
They threw Sammy off the top of the cage last year. Like, there was a full chance that he was coming off the top of that cage.
I actually, I'm not a big fan of the deal where they climb up, but I actually was pretty cool this year. There was no big stunt. They teased one, and then they just used it for that legitimately innovative deal where he threw he dropped the tacks through. That was actually a cool idea. Yeah, that was good.
They announced a new match for Death Before Dishonor, and bro, I gotta say, man, these guys are fucked. Master Wato, Taguchi, and Leon Ruff against the Mogul Embassy. They're fucked.
Okay, that's such a random. I mean, it's always going to be a random match because it's a trios match. But
who's fucked? Wait, the wrestlers or the promotion?
The New Japan guys are fucked.
When you said it, I thought you meant like Ring of Honor. These guys are fucked.
Totally Leon's gonna eat them alive. It's done.
I got you.
He's a loose cannon, man. But yeah, War Games, bro. Violence, a lot of spots, a lot of stuff that'll make you squint, a lot of stuff that'll make you cry, and
Kota Ibushi's entrance, him just soaking it in, because he didn't really know how to react to the crowd. It kind of felt like, so he was just soaking it in as he walked to the ring, and they did the same spot twice where he went through and battered everyone, but it was just cool enough that I popped for it both times. So, God, I love Kota Ibushi. I was very happy to see him in an AEW ring.
Yeah, man, I think loads of people were happy to see him last night, absolutely, in Boston when he came out, like you said, he got a huge reaction, and him, figuring out how he was going to take it in was quite a hilarious watch for me, but God bless him, man, he hasn't been in front of a crowd making real noise like that in a very long time, so, and obviously, getting that kind of love, even if he was, wrestling in front of crowds every day, it still would have been something last night, so.
Yeah.
Reunited with the rest of the elite, completing the Golden Elite. Of course, Kenny Omega being the one that everyone wants to see him interact with, and that they did. Kota Ibushi goes in there.
It was just
man. Moxley had Omega kind of begging for mercy almost. Ibushi has to come in and throw some strikes,
I do want to say one of the coolest spots of the match is when Kota Ibushi came in and just started punching Moxley, and his fist got all covered in blood. And then when Moxley went into guard position,
he was just over him, just laying into him. I thought that was awesome.
He was throwing the punches. He sure was.
I personally wouldn't have singled that spot out, but that's why you're the Hooper, man. I mean, those punches were in the same cage as Mox, definitely. It is like genuinely. I mean this is sincerity. Ibushi's thing was a moment. He was not able to provide the performance that we had kind of got carried away expecting because we know that he's fucking nuts. But in a weird way, what he did produce was almost. It was so incredibly on brand in how bizarre it was. And he's truly one of the more unique wrestling geniuses that we have ever come across in the great sport of professional wrestling. Like he appeared as though he didn't quite know what his role in the match was, which made it infinitely funny to watch him kind of walk around like, oh,
he didn't really do much, man.
Yeah, it was fascinating.
He had his moment. He had his face to face with Mark. Yeah. He threw some cool punches and strikes, and he kicked a few people. He done the moonsault onto the screwdrivers onto was it Mark's? I think it might have been Mark's.
Yes. It was Mark's, yeah.
Yeah. So he had his little moments in it, but as an overall package, it was just kind of walking around vibing and
fascinating. Yeah.
He had that exchange with Takeshita, which I later found out was in picture, so good shit there.
He very much. I mean, let's be fair. Like this match did not need more talent, so it wasn't like they were. It wasn't like they were short on guys to do things. But it was fascinating to watch him in this setting. It's no big deal because of what we said earlier. I mean, he's wrestled a couple of matches in 2 years, and he re-injured his shoulder the last time he was out. So it's not going to be dramatic, but it was quite the watch. Lot to like here though. There was a lot of good stuff. It was very, very fun. I think it's probably I need to rewatch Blood and Guts 2, but I think it's probably the best Blood and Guts they've done so far. I think. 2 was a good time though. I will say. So I have to revisit, but my gut feeling when I watched it was that was the best one. So
I think 2 has the most I think 2 has the most iconic moment with Angelo Parker hanging upside down.
Yeah, that was nuts.
Yeah, I think this one was more even. In that, I felt like I was always given something to enjoy. Where I think 2 had a lot more quite noticeable ups and downs. But 2 probably has more. I don't know. I was going to say 2 has more memorable moments, but there was some crazy shit in this too, so maybe not.
I think 3 was a better match, but 2 had the better moments. That's like the first Anarchy in the Arena and the second one.
Right.
I think the second one was better, but the first one had better moments.
I mean, I think both of them are really good. The key thing with this match is you have to. I think the fact that people tuned into this and I expecting it to be like a 25-minute 1995 War Games. Not 95, but it's a bad year for that. We know what Blood and Guts is now. And I think you have to kind of approach it as its own thing. And within that thing, I think this was the most polished effort from the performance point of view. Unfortunately, the production was anything but, right? And that's a shame, and it hurt the finish, which we'll get to in more detail, I guess. But yeah, I really, really enjoyed it a lot. Absolutely.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, there was a lot to like. It kind of it was chaos, bro. It was not said it was some real nice wrestling, good wrestlers doing good shit, and then Mox gets in and it's just fucking chaos, bro. And from then you get all these crazy spots. You get screwdriver tables, you get Kota Ibushi, you get this and that. You get Charlie worrying about young Wheeler Utah's life, literally.
It was a valid concern.
I mean, man. But yeah, the finish is Wheeler Utah nearly dying. He gets hung up by Hangman.
Hangman and Kenny hit the last call. They finally did it. They've had a few matches and they finally hit the last call. So that was a very cool moment.
They got a really good reaction.
People, I was annoyed that the commentators didn't call it what it was, but it is what it is. The crowd knew what was up, so
yeah. There was definitely some stuff that I think if you could have it back, they ideally they would just know it, but there was definitely something that felt caught the commentators off guard. They would, I think, added to the presentation if they had a better kind of grip on it going in. But it's very hard, I'd imagine, to translate to the free announcers the many ideas within a 50-minute War Games match. So, it kind of is what it is. let's talk about the finish a little. So as you said about Utah, and
I'm getting to it now.
I, especially on rewatch, I actually think the finish is like kind of awesome in theory. And like the idea of that as an addition to John Moxley's character and what that means for him as a character, and what that means for his place in Blackpool Combat Club, and what that says about him in general, I think is like really compelling. So I absolutely am for it as the finish. Some timing issues slowed it slightly. It didn't have the punch, but the main issue again, and I feel bad constantly, being the same drama, but like they need to get that shot of Mox. It's like I can't imagine truly how hard it is to direct one of these matches. Like I bet it is absurd. It's impossible. But if there's one shot you needed something of Mox here, right? You just did, and that was a shame because it made the finish much less dramatic than it actually it could have been. It could have been very, very. It could have been very, very impactful, I think, but nonetheless.
It's like you said, Joe, it kind of let the finish down as a whole, because the finish as an idea, as a concept, it's pretty neat finish, it makes sense, really takes it, Mox gives it in for him, and it's just, they just didn't capture the magic that they were supposed to, Don Callis walked out with Takeshita. How could he? Pac walked out on the whole of Blackpool Combat Club together because of disagreements with Claudio, seemingly setting up the match at Death Before Dishonor. Well, it did. Never mind seemingly, it did. And yeah, man, the Blackpool Combat Club, they were, they had no match for the power of friendship, Charlie, as you mentioned earlier in the podcast. They got the job done. The mercenaries weren't enough, and Blackpool Combat Club, they just, the show ends with Mox kind of sat there dejected, kind of reflecting on what had just happened, disappointed. As the Elite, they're singing Wayward Sons. They're having a great time. Kenny Omega and Ibushi, they're hugging in the ring. We got the cool shot of them together, and yeah, man, that was War Games. That was War Games. There's some stuff after the show as well, but yeah. What do you think of what do you actually think of the finish in terms of like a storyline sense for Moxley? I was going to say Manny, but I'll throw it to Joe instead because he's disappeared on me.
It's very, very compelling. I especially because of how the Texas Death Match ended, right? At Revolution. I love it. I think Moxley is like, for all the violence and stuff that takes the headlines, I think he's actually like a very interesting character. Like the Hangman feud was really interesting in that regard. I remember when he had the line about like, "You make me a better man," I think he said at one point, and like this kind of idea of like Moxley has like his very own moral compass that has been kind of apparent throughout his AEW run, and it is maybe not traditional or conventional, but there is certainly a sense that he sees that he feels some sense of honor to what he does, right?
Yeah.
And he could have kind of just leave him there and let just hope Claudio make a difference, but he clearly actually cares about you. What that means for the Combat Club, I think, is compelling because I think there's a chance that like kind of spells the end of his time in the group. To be honest, I think they really might do that because I think they may do the deal where Dragon. My apologies, folks. Where Dragon doesn't even get why you would ever do that, and kind of completely dismisses it, and they move in a different direction. So, very interested what it means for the Blackpool Combat Club, and more specifically, the Eddie Kingston program.
Yes.
Eddie Kingston can very reasonably say, they didn't work out so well, trusting the mercenaries of Takeshita and Pac, and maybe, just maybe, if Bryan Danielson, who I know he's not around, but maybe he can do a promo, or if Claudio even, that'd be even better. If Claudio questions Moxley's decision, under pressure, if Claudio says I wasn't handcuffed, there was no reason to surrender that match, that would give Eddie an awful lot of material, right? Like, so I don't know. I'm really into this, and because Moxley has a lot of input on what he does, I'm excited to see kind of how he pieces it together.
because like Claudio and Yuta have this bond where like they do all the tag matches and that.
Yeah.
If you have Yuta being mad with Mox that he gave it in, because Yuta didn't tap himself, he like showed no indication of giving it in, which is why Mox did what he did, obviously. But like him and Claudio like being like going against Mox and being like, well, we could have had that. Like, why did you give up? Like, all it would have taken is another few seconds. Like, but Mox has been in that position himself. He knows what it's like to be wrapped in those chains. So. And Eddie coming back and Eddie being like, well, I told you so, sort of thing. And Mox throwing it back in his face that he just left for Japan. Like, there's so much material there. It's going to be great for Moxie, like, over the summer when Eddie comes back. There's so much for him to be doing.
Yeah, man. Hopefully you can. He just keeps powering on. It's John Moxley. It's just kind of what he does now, you know. Even if he's not quite wrestler of the year, he's always kind of up there, you know.
Yeah, he definitely
top,
up there.
in that like top category, you know.
Absolutely.
He's an animal.
I want to say about the ending real quick is like, part of me was kind of upset that Moxley was the one that kind of gave up for the team and all that, but at the same time, I think it's pretty cool. It adds like another layer to Moxley as a character, and he's just not this bloodthirsty heathen, you know. He's just, he's a guy that likes his friends and doesn't want them to die, you know. I mean,
he's. I mean, again, and it's especially interesting to go back to it once more that the Texas Death Match, he conceded there in the end, right? Like there's a limit that Moxley is aware of that is interesting to play around with. It's like the old prize fighter who kind of is deep enough into his career and he realizes there is more to life than just bleeding everywhere. Yeah. And Moxley has tapped into these kind of bigger. I mean, I'll never forget the promo he cut about. Remember the one about like when he did the deal with his child with his little finger, and he was talking about like, that was what he was fighting for.
Yeah.
Like, where do if we're treating this as seriously as they treat Blood and Guts, which is this could take years off people's careers, this can change people's lives. They basically presented that as Willie, you could die. Was basically the way they presented that. And Moxley will go, I think, as dramatic as he possibly can in that regard. So it's very interesting.
I think he's
going to do his whole thing of like Willie Yuta being the young boy. He's got all of his years ahead of him. They've got more behind him. Like he was doing what he thought was right for him. Like, because like Moxie's got his kid. Like he was like Mox, like he treats Yuta that way. He's just like you're just our young boy. It's like it's going to be good shit. I'm very excited.
I think this is some of the best character development we've seen in AEW from a guy that started in here all violent, and when he has his kid, he's kind of softened his stance a bit, where he's still fighting for his family and all that, till now, where he's like, I don't want, he's like soft-hearted now. So this is really cool stuff, and see the progression.
Absolutely. But yeah, after the show ends, we get a promo from Kenny Omega, and he's basically being respectful to the Blackpool Combat Club, and it's kind of one of those one of those end the feud promos that you may be familiar with, where it's kind of look at what we've done to each other. We've took years off our careers, and it's built a respect between us. I'm willing to kind of put my hand out and shake hands if you're willing to do the same, and that's what they did. They shook hands. And then Kenny Omega also said that this won't be the last time we see Kota Ibushi in AEW. We did not get the Tony Khan All Elite Kota Ibushi graphic, but you never know. One day, Kenny Omega assures us it won't be the last time we see him, so we'll see what's next. And I guess it's worth kicking around. Obviously, we've already spoke about Marks. But what about the rest of the Blackpool Combat Club and the Golden Elite? Like, when do we think we'll see Kota Ibushi back? What do we think Kenny and the guys will be up to at Wembley and All Out? Same with Marks, Danielson, etc., etc. So I'm just wondering if any of you guys have got any predictions for what these guys are going to be doing next.
I think we're gonna get Moxley and Ibushi at Wembley, and I think we're gonna get Claudio and Eddie at Wembley too.
I like it both. I like them both. Claudio versus Eddie was like fucking that first match in Ring of Honor. One of my favourite matches of the year so far, to be honest. I love that match. So if they run it back at Wembley, I'll be there, brother. I'll be on my feet. Hulbert, you got any predictions of where you see this going? I know you've kind of already touched on the Mox stuff, but Just so we got the Takeshita stuff as well. Like, is
Yeah.
he gonna
Mhm.
get his hands on Kenny at Wembley? Like,
Feels like it, yeah. I think, kind of individual parts will focus on more specific, pieces of this feud. I think Kenny and Takeshita will spin off, and honestly, they've only just scratched the surface with the actual turn with Takeshita, right? Like, there's been so much going on that they've kind of like Callis obviously is the focus, which is fine, but I think they even can do more, and hopefully they will in the next 6 weeks.
definitely.
So Kenny and Takeshita, I think we're getting Eddie and Moxley in a very kind of conflicted situation. I kind of feel like Claudio survives tomorrow and they do him and Pac again at Wembley and Pac wins the belt there. I could be completely wrong on that, but I don't quite know what else Pac is doing, and he obviously should be doing something significant, right? So that's kind of some guess in that regard. We talked about the Hung Bucks earlier, and I'll leave that there for Charlie's sake.
Is that your prediction, though?
What, Claudio and Pac too?
No, Hung Bucks versus Dark Order. Like, you think that's what they're going into next?
I mean,
Feels that
the
way.
honest answer is like
Definitely.
no, because it sounds insane. Like, I can't fathom it as but it is kind of hard to figure out like what else they would be doing if not, because it certainly doesn't feel like they're doing the tag title match, right? It doesn't feel like that at all. It feels like you're gonna do something as the Hung Bucks, and then it's kind of that's the only thing you can assume watching the TV. I don't think it's what they should be doing, obviously, but yeah, that's my guess.
I think I would really like it if the Elite did a segment on Dynamite and they started talking about All In and like basically give a mission statement of what they want, because just set up stories that way. I don't.
Yeah, it'd be very
All
easy
In,
for them, especially.
Yeah, especially with the Elite. Like, All In was their baby. Like, that was their thing. Like, they made the first one. So
What Charlie is
I don't
saying
know.
is, she's saying Hung Bucks in the ring, talking about All In.
Mm-hmm.
Jeff Jarrett, My World plays. That's what you're saying, right, Charlie? That's what I'm picking up what you're putting down. Satnam, that's what you're looking for, I think, right? That makes sense. It's good.
Something in that realm.
Is it better or worse than the alternative? It's worse than the alternative. I gotta be fair. I gotta be fair to the Dark Order, fellas.
Jeff Jarrett would
I
get a
don't
big
know,
pop.
man.
No
I know what I'd rather see.
All right, fair enough.
I know what I'd rather see. We've got a couple of super chats, so I'm going to throw them out, man.
Yeah. I just need someone to point at the All-In sign, because it being up there and them not referencing it at all, like as the wrestlers, is making me very angsty. So
Pop. Nicholas Sturgeon, £5.
Jesus.
Joe, heard you hated that all your supporters were Tories. Just to let you know, you're welcome on Scotland. Welcome in Scotland, Joe. What do you reckon?
No, thank you.
Damn. Shooting them down. Dunmaz, $5. Kenny Omega is the greatest of all time. Bro don't need to be taking the spots he did last night, but he got slammed into a bed of nails for the love of the game. There was a lot of people doing a lot of stuff for the love of the game last night, Charlie
is nuts. That's a good point. He's insane.
Charlie and Joe shouted out Nick Jackson. He was he went through the ringer last night, brother. There was, like I said, there was a lot of people doing a lot of stuff for the love of the game last night. Man. It was chaos. Darren Walker, £5, says, "Will you guys be watching the Ring of Honor pay-per-view?" I assume that's on a watch along. I'm not 100% sure.
Maybe.
Maybe.
I don't know about watching, but I'll probably watch.
I will be watching that now. I've seen some of these cards, and I'm ready to ride.
And will any of you be at the Rev Pro show in August? And who top UK women can Mickey James wrestle? Windsor?
Yeah, it's got to be Alex Windsor.
Session Martinez.
Shocking, man. I mean, I can imagine the type of match they would cook up, and I don't know whether Rev Pro would put that on the copper box.
Oh no, man! The Pro Wrestling Podcast, good friend of the family, 199 sup. Well, member of the family, he helps us out with the Instagram page. Good friend, part of, all the same. We appreciate him very, very much, especially when he sends through a little super chat. We can't complain. All right, man. What else did I have written down? might have another subject. Might just freestyle it. We've already talked about the AEW Women's Division. I didn't mention though that Yuta was poor Yuta, man. You know, he got hung yesterday, and now he's getting flamed on Twitter for saying the AEW Women's Division because he's more than capable of having their own pay-per-view. And I think, judging off our conversation earlier about the women's division, I don't think we think they're quite at the stage that they should be putting on their own pay-per-view. But it'd be nice if they were at that stage, wouldn't it? You know,
Yeah. I mean,
even like WWE, I mentioned earlier, so they ain't doing a great job of their women's division either. But
Oh,
like, when they done Revolution, bro, like, it was cool, man. You know, it was cool. So, you know, then
I mean,
obviously,
you was just, he's being supported. You was like,
yeah, look, what do you want him to say?
He's a
No,
26-year-old young dude, and he ain't gonna be like, nah, bro. Tony's fucking
yeah,
me
look,
up.
oh no, man, division's cooks, bro. Like, yeah, he said what you meant, what you're supposed to say, and like, yeah, I think they're capable. I think they're kidding. They're 100% capable. Like, you know, it was that kind of vibe. So,
What was the context of the question?
Good question, Manny.
Do you want the full quote?
Manny's a big full quote guy. It's famous.
I mean, this is like when like they said like, what does Ja Rule think? Like, who like, I mean, like, who else? I mean,
This is not the same.
It kind of is, actually.
It's like, what does you have to do with the division?
AEW has like 50 coaches. They're asking Willie Utah, who's just trying to do his gig.
But yeah, man.
I'm so glad I put that out like this.
My God, man, he's victory laps about his own comment.
Bro, you meant to do that after the show, you know. Victory lapping his own bits live on the air, you know.
Yeah, when you're good, you're fucking good, bro. I don't know what to...
Look how happy he is with himself, man. Ben Dixon, $5 Australian. Appreciate it. Should Pac beat Claudio? Pac works a part-time schedule as Ring of Honor champion, free Claudio to work singles on shows more than 10k people can watch. But Claudio can work those shows anyway. Like, he's clearly not exclusive to Ring of Honor. Like, he was just in fucking Blood and Guts. So, you know, no, don't let that excuse slide past you, Ben. You know, that's what I'd say on that one.
It's really hard. It's hard.
Should Pac beat Claudio though? I don't know.
It's just.
I don't mind either way. I don't watch a lot of Ring of Honor.
That's the thing. It's really hard to have a strong opinion on who should win these matches because it's like, look, I don't mean this to be grit, but like, it doesn't feel like this version of Ring of Honor is going to be particularly sustainable. Like, I don't know if they can do this much longer. I mean, I think it's going to change in the coming weeks and months, which is, I mean, that's probably what should happen because this pay-per-view roll-up has been like insane. So
the matches they added to the show are Commander versus Gravity, which I think is going to rule.
Who's that?
Gravity is Bandito's brother.
Yeah.
Is he good?
Yeah, he's cool. He looks cool.
He's been on.
Hold on, Manny.
I'm
Have you watched him have a match before?
Yeah, I've seen. I mean, anybody looks good against Ray Phoenix. I mean,
good answer.
He comes out in an astronaut gear.
Yeah, I've seen that bit. Yeah.
Yeah, the Righteous are wrestling the Dark Order in a fight without honor. Samoa Joe versus Dalton Castle.
Wait, the Righteous versus who?
The Dark Order in a fight without honor, a very prestigious step. So, you know.
Yikes.
And let's see what else is going on. Oh, I think I don't know if it's confirmed or not. I didn't see it because I'm not watching the show, but they said Athena and Willow's the main eventing.
They should, to be honest.
That should be the move.
Makes sense, doesn't it? Considering it's the only actual, like, you know,
it's the only match with story.
Yeah. It's the only match that's been like built for this show, if that makes sense. It's like, yeah, of course, Claudio versus Pac is a quote unquote bigger match, you know, but like it hasn't. Yeah, this feels like it's been built to this point with real purpose, you know. With
and it's not like it's so big that it has to close the show. No. Either, you know, like not by any means.
Yeah, I'm with you, bro.
Wait, Commander's also Bros and Bandito? I don't know about that one, brother, but Yeah, that's
Charlie
about it.
doesn't
That's all.
watch Ring of Honor and rolls her eyes hearing about the match of the actual main story of Dark Order and the Righteous. I mean, fair, yeah, I did do that.
Yeah, Ibu is in the chat. Ibu, I hope you're having I hope you're having a productive day at work, and you're doing what you're meant to be doing. Good for Ibu. Doing what he's meant to, and not distracting us on this podcast. He says with a 4.99 super chat, scorching take. AEW's women's division is lacking. Anyone point this out?
No, that is a good point. We should talk about it.
Manny got pretty heated about it earlier.
Let's get into it. So, if you haven't noticed, the AEW's women's division is we just go all in. We go into it again for another 25 minutes.
Yeah, forever, man.
All right, so we're 1 minute 55. We're 1 hour 55 minutes into this podcast. You know what? Because I'm a completionist, I want us to get to 2 hours. So I'm opening up the floor to the live chat and to my fellow co-hosts to just kind of throw some subjects or random questions at us. Go on, man.
How long did you guys go on Twitch after I left? Do you guys keep going or?
We went on for a little bit. We didn't go that long.
Great question for content,
I wanted to talk about Aussie Open a little bit because
yes, let's do it. 100%. That's a good one. That is a good one. So Carl Fletcher was on AEW Unrestricted, and he was talking about the reasons why Aussie Open signed for AEW. Pretty standard interview question, and he basically said what quite a few people suspected, Charlie being one of them. She had not to bait her out, but she had a little bit of a victory lap in a circle.
Yeah, a little bit.
But yeah, man, Kyle Fletcher basically said that they're looking for stability. That was one of the main things that they wanted. They directly asked New Japan if, are you going to give us stability? And they were like, yes, but not right now. And, they had the offer from AEW clearly, and that's where they've gone and found their stability in AEW. And of course, I know the AEW fan base is very happy to have them. There's a lot of the New Japan fan base that were kind of bitter about them leaving, thinking it was kind of like a poaching deal, even though we know AEW don't do that with New Japan. But yeah, man, AEW ended up with Aussie Open, a great signing for them, and bizarre that New Japan didn't immediately sign them up when the opportunity presented itself. So interesting, isn't it, Charlie, when you write about these things?
Really is interesting, because it's like New Japan obviously had value in Aussie Open because they made them double tag champs. Like, they clearly saw a lot with them and wanted them to do a lot for the company. But at the end of the day, the wrestlers are real people and they have to think about their futures and their stability. Like, just before they signed, well, we don't know when they signed, like, officially, but just before it was announced they were signed, like, Mark Davis got injured. Like, if they didn't have contract stability, like, who knows what would have happened with that. So I'm just happy for them that they found somewhere where they're happy to work and they have that stability and they get the success they deserve, man, because they've been awesome for ages. So they deserve the big stage, whether it's in Japan or America. So
yeah, definitely Aussie Open. They definitely have emerged as one of the premier tag teams in in the worldwide landscape of wrestling. Made a great name for themselves last year. Had been quietly building to get to the point to have a breakout year like they did last year. It's not like they literally just came out of nowhere. They've been great for a minute, man. So, and like Charlie said, them getting the contract and the stability just before Davis went down is kind of like why, it's good that they cut out of New Japan when they did, because they didn't have that, from what's been said at least, they didn't have that stability in New Japan, which is, again, bizarre. Really bizarre stuff, Joe,
Yeah, I mean, I think the issue is that while they get Aussie Open are great, they don't seem to value the tag division that much. So even as the IWGP tag champs, they're like, I mean, it's bizarre. I mean, I would say that people should probably learn from this not to like police the loyalty of wrestlers, but people will not learn that at all. So I'm just going to say, God bless.
I do understand like New Japan fans being upset, but it's not like they're never going to go back. Like, they've openly said that they will still want to work with New Japan, and they can do that being signed with AEW.
Yeah. Well, they're going to be the G1, right?
Yeah, like that's what Dave Kidd and Alex Coughlin were alluded to. I'm just going to ignore Manny's get up right now.
Well, I have a
What?
theory if you're all to talk.
Where's the theory?
Well,
You've derailed us now. You know.
Well, sorry, Charlie.
I don't know what you're talking about.
My conspiracy theory is that New Japan doesn't want to sign these wrestlers, so they're just hoping AEW signs them, and then they just, they just get their dates on them when they can, and then they'll have somebody else pay them, and they don't have to worry about what a WWE and them taking their talent away forever.
It also is like New Japan are definitely different in the way they approach these things. Like they absolutely are fine with the idea of guys just kind of, especially guys in town, just coming in and out. It's like the Jonah thing when everyone got really fired up about how could they not have him under contract. It's like, 'cause they don't really give a fuck. Like he came in, he did the deal with Okada, and it's like, here's what it is. So, obviously different talents here, but you get my point.
Yeah, but same premise.
Yeah, I don't think. I guess when you get to that point, you've had a relationship with these guys for as long as they had. The fact they didn't have a contract on the table, I don't think they were like stunned probably by what happened. They're partners with AEW, so
yeah,
it is what it is.
I'm just happy for the boys.
Absolutely.
Well, speaking of poaching, Charlton Spurs. This is one of the more incredible stories of the week. Charlton Spurs $5. He says Tony Khan said some things about Saudi, and now they're trying to poach Marco Silva by paying him $20 million a year. TK really poked the bear. So, for the people who have no idea what this football talk is, this is of course a soccer and Fulham Football Club related. They have a very good manager in Marco Silva, who was he's doing some nice work with Fulham, man. They're definitely overachieving at the moment, and a lot of people put it down to the manager. He's really kind of like the core of everything good at Fulham at the moment. Tony Khan, well, just to give even more background, Saudi Arabia are officially very heavily into the football game. They've signed Cristiano Ronaldo into their league, and they've signed a bunch of other big name players. So they're spending a lot of money right now. Tony Khan has came out against this in an interview saying, money can help you get away with anything. That includes murder. Like the Saudis are basically doing whatever they want, And a lot of people have been moaning about the Saudis, but like I said, Tony Khan came out and said it as an owner of a football club. And it came out today that I can't remember exactly which Saudi Arabian football club it was, but one of them basically offered Marco Silva, the Fulham manager, $40 million, which is unheard of for a football manager or any manager or any sport. $40 million for a 2-year contract, which I think works out to like $400K a week or something stupid like that, which is, again, completely unheard of for a manager to make money like that. Like, I don't know if you US guys who listen to these podcasts know like Jose Mourinho and Pep Guardiola are and these sort of managers. They are not making that kind of money, bro. Like, they are not making $20 million a year. So the Saudis are going hard after Tony Khan's guy, and so the tinfoil hat people like Manny may suspect it was in retaliation to Tony's comments. Maybe they just want a new manager, but the Saudis are hard in the game. They're going hard in the paint.
I don't want to butcher the team's name, but it's Al Ahani. Ahani is a football club that's trying to...
one of them. The Public Investment Fund, or whatever it's called in Saudi Arabia, they've bought like the top 4 teams in the Saudi Arabian League, and they're the 4 teams that are like buying up and making all these big financial plays. So, that's the team that's sort of signed Ronaldo and all those guys. So, yeah, man. Someone, I don't think it was a super chat, but it was a pretty fair topic to bring up. Someone said earlier about why is Tony Khan put this Death Before Dishonor on Friday when there's a lot of competition, including, speaking of soccer, I think Messi's MLS debut is like on the same, like going, where is it? I'm going to find it. My bad, people.
Wait, he's playing tomorrow?
Where is it? Here it is, Cody Willis. Topic: why would Tony Khan do this Ring of Honor pay-per-view on a Friday night against heavy competition? SmackDown, USA in the Women's World Cup, Messi's MLS debut, and then there's literally nothing on Sunday.
Yeah.
Definitely fair to bring it up.
Was the last one have all the Ring of Honor pay-per-views been on Fridays?
The last one was No, a couple of them were Saturdays. The last one was Friday because it was
Because
WrestleMania
it's mainly
weekend.
weekend. Yeah.
Well, look, it can't go against Collision, you know. I mean, come on.
Yeah, but Sunday.
Yeah, Sunday.
Sunday's their usual
Oh,
pay-per-view
yeah.
day.
I honestly think the bigger question is
Right.
why did that? They probably should have put it before the G1 started. We're
Yes.
talking schedule. I mean,
People talking about like the booking of Ring of Honor and that. Tony decided when this pay-per-view would happen. He knew that Eddie wanted to do the G1. I don't understand like why people aren't like, they're just like, oh, you guys need to let Tony cook. And it's just like, what is he cooking though? Like,
There's a new report that just came out. I mean, I don't want to read it all verbatim, but like they said that a lot of stuff changed and all that because I read it a while back, so I don't remember. But I think they said
No.
oh, you know, Monty can read it.
I didn't read any. I don't know what you're talking about.
I think like, and I mean this is not not to be spiteful because I love Ring of Honor. I hope a lot of people buy it, but I don't. I don't know how many people are going to buy the show if it's on fucking Monday, Tuesday. I mean, it's no one's buying the show. It's what it is. I mean, a couple of us sickos will watch it and we'll have a good time.
Fair, to be honest.
It's going to do no, It's
he didn't know Mark was going down with a knee injury or that Joe's schedule would be freed up because of Hollywood.
Some people are claiming self-sabotage, which,
That's funny.
Yeah, supposedly Samoa Joe was supposed to be busy. He wasn't even supposed to be on Death Before Dishonor, but the writer's strike, let him be on the show now because, he can't work. So,
really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Ben Dixon asked a couple questions in the chat. Was it Ben Dixon? No, Darren. Ben Dixon's someone who says self-sabotage. But Darren KG asked if the Saudis bought Newcastle. Yes, they did. So they've got a Premier League team as well as trying to boost up their own league and get everything popping off over there.
I thought you're not allowed to. I didn't know when Entity can buy multiple teams in the same league and all that. So I know
you can't buy multiple teams in the same league. In the Premier League, but obviously in the Saudi league, it's literally like it's the Saudis buying them, So it's I don't know how they're gonna work it out over there, but I think they're just having a fun time and just doing what they want at the moment. They're just throwing around millions and hundreds of millions of pounds around. So, but yeah, man, they're going crazy over there. They are going crazy over there. And he asked how much does Pep make. I don't have the exact figure. If I had to ballpark it, I'd say probably about 12 mil a year, something like that.
If you want to talk about football, talk about Miami just signing all these old Barcelona players, just to...
It's beast. It's fucking beast, bro. It's one of my favourite stories of the football transfer window. You got Messi there, then you get Busquets. We've just signed Jordi Alba. There's talk of them signing Iniesta.
Yes.
It's art, bro. It's art, man. That's what you should be doing in MLS, is just sign players or attractions, you know what I mean? But anyway, enough football talk. I'm getting carried away, Can tell Manny all kinds of stuff with his team floor hat on.
They just signed Iniesta.
But, alright, we got a couple we've got one super chat. Darren Cage, he says $5. It was clear early on in Ring of Honor. It was clear early on Ring of Honor was destined to be Dark 2.0. I don't think anything changes because TK doesn't have to change it, and that makes me sad. Same.
Yeah, he was. I think he was hopefully get a TV deal of some kind. Once it was on a club, like it always felt like, unfortunately, the writing was on the wall. Is weird. I mean, like I remember being excited for the initial tapings. There was very quickly a kind of adjustment of like these are going to be bloated, but without a TV deal, like that thing was going to struggle because even if he did this perfectly and he nailed it, I don't know how big the audience is to subscribe for $10 to watch an extra TV show each week. So it's like my genuine take on it is a fan of Ring of Honor is. It seems to me like Ring of Honor kind of reached its natural conclusion. Mm-hmm. And Tony buying it simply gave us the legitimately worthwhile extension of the FTR Briscoes trilogy. And like, not everything lasts forever, man. I fucking love that
Yeah.
promotion. I probably wouldn't be doing this show, but like, there seems to be no interest in that show being on TV. You know, it's the brand isn't that strong outside of our circle.
Yeah,
It
it
is
needs
what
a
it is.
brand. It needs a lot of work in terms of
Yeah.
like the brand itself before you
Yeah.
can even think about hoping to create a demand for it to be on TV or
Yeah.
even on fucking YouTube at this point. You know, in terms of like a potential ceiling, you know, look, the first week they had like 15K, didn't they? 15K
Mhm.
people signed up to it. I think they said.
Mhm.
I think the Ring of Honor pay-per-views, the ones that were doing really well when he first bought the company, were doing like what, 25K, 25, 35K.
30, yeah.
I think they could have settled around if they were
Right.
doing the show that like me and Manny were hoping for, you know.
Right. But even still, like, you know, if
Sure.
that's like the ceiling, it says something, right? And it's
Yes,
the
absolutely.
reality is that Ring of Honor at its height was never like truly transcendent in popularity. But we have to be honest about what it was in the years before. I mean, before Tony bought it, unfortunately, it lost a lot of that. You know, it's just I don't know, man.
I'm not gonna lie to you, man. I canceled my subscription. I said, "Fuck, I ain't paying for that shit no more." I mean,
Yeah. Now, to be
I
clear,
think how Manny started this journey. Yeah.
I do want to stress that, like, that doesn't mean he's done a good job with it, and clearly the TV should be way better, as we've discussed previously. But I do think there is, you know, I don't think he's missing out on some, like, you know, box office TV opportunity here.
I
This
mean-
is what it is, I think.
there's only so much I can blame him for because like the indies suck. I mean, there's not that kind of next generation of crop you want on there. Then whatever next generation he does have, he has them on Dynamite, and he just has like the people he doesn't want to use on Dynamite and Collision
Which is
on Ring of
I mean,
Honor.
That's fair enough, though, right? Like, I mean, I'm sure the
Yeah.
wrestlers would rather be on those shows too.
Yeah.
And you think, I mean, with all the talent that he does, because I mean, look, some of those talent in Ring of Honor right now are freaking good. Like Willie Mack, you have the
Of
Kingdom,
course, yeah.
the fucking Lucha
Yeah.
Bros are on there, and all that. Like you can do stuff with this, and it just seems like there isn't any effort into it.
What do we always say when it's a top talent and they're on Ring of Honor? We're always like, oh, they should be on one of the two TV shows, because that's
Yeah.
the reality of where they're at. Like, Athena is my favorite women's wrestler. I've been a fan for years. I'm so glad to see her having this run. I would like her to do it on national TV now. You know, it's
Yeah.
like now clearly that's not a thing against the letters ROH, because I love ROH, but it is what I mean. It's not a real thing. So it's like,
I only say that because it's only more noticeable with the tag teams because AEW doesn't have any tag teams right now. They can be using the Workhorsemen instead of using them as job guys. They can be using the Kingdom, the Lucha Bros. Who else is on there? There's just a whole bunch of other teams that they can be using instead of like the depleted tag team.
the one thing I would like to see them try is I just never believed in the idea of doing a TV product. I didn't
Yeah.
get why it had to be a TV. If you haven't got a TV deal, do events, you know, and try and figure out a way to use Honor Club, funnel people to Honor Club for a monthly, maybe a couple of months, maybe you do a weekend in those occasions of events and put together some cool lineups. Because clearly you can do that. You can throw cards together with that roster easily.
Mhm.
I just do not think there was like a genuine thirst for let's give the people another 2 hours of TV behind a paywall, you know. So I would like to see them at least explore that shift. Again, you're talking a low ceiling, but I'd like to see them try that at least. So
Yes.
Short-term Spurs, $5. The moment ROH tapings moved to Collision, it was doomed. So it's CM Punk's fault if you think about it.
That's a
Yeah,
funny
that's-
bit,
that's
but I
aggressive,
also
yeah.
got to see Despy on the Ring of Honor tapings, so it's a win for me.
if nothing else, and if the end is nigh, which it may be, let's be real,
Yes.
give us like the Ring of Honor one night stand bit, you know? Give us like an annual event where all the old fucks go and have their Ring of Honor.
Christopher
Hammerstein.
Daniels.
Yeah, Hammerstein.
Christopher Daniels and Homicide tag team.
Low key versus Danielson, you know.
Fuck it, you know. But you could actually do a really cool like all-star tag to main event one of those
Yeah,
too.
bro,
So,
100%. ECW one night stand, ROH one night stand. Obviously, you'd call it something different to avoid being like, you know,
The honorable stand. There you go.
nothing to do with stand, you know.
yeah, no, it's
One night only, you know, like whatever you want to call it. I think that would be a really cool idea, absolutely. I know you and Ibu have spoke about that before as well, Joe. So, I mean, hopefully it doesn't just fucking fade into irrelevancy even more than it has. Hopefully this is where it bottoms out. And we don't lose this promotion that we grew to know and love, man. It would be very sad. And at this point, like Joe said, we'd even take the annual event at this point, as long as you give this brand some respect, baby.
Absolutely. I guess my point is like I don't need Ring of Honor to live on just for the sake of it being there. I guess is what I'm saying. It's like I don't really know if this is even what you would consider Ring of Honor at this point. They're taping alongside the AEW TV show.
Yeah.
They have a TV show behind a paywall that hasn't even really built much to the pay-per-view itself. I mean, it is what it is. It's just we'll see.
I'll finally admit it. This isn't my Ring of Honor, man. My Ring of Honor died a long time ago. I wasn't even watching back then, so I mean
that was even funny.
Annie, when did you start watching Ring of Honor?
3 months ago.
2022.
2018, 2019, when I was rediscovering wrestling around the world. It wasn't even that current Ring of Honor. It was me going back and watching Joe Kobashi and then all these old matches.
That it's mid 2010s TV era, which is not the best Ring of Honor at all. But I honestly think I would have just stopped watching wrestling altogether without it didn't exist. It pops because you can tell Tony is a big fan of it too, because he does some of his creative quirks. Like he'll do weird shit like this book Silas Young. It's like, oh yeah, he for sure was watching that same shit I was for sure. Yeah. Watching the Briscoes selling their doing those ads they used to do, those inserts throughout the show. It was a great time.
The best part of the show, to be honest.
It was, because the thing, I mean, even then, that's 2015. The take around Ring of Honor was, the houses are pretty good, but this ain't nothing compared to what was a decade ago. And it wasn't. It's just the way it is, Things change.
Even when Ring of Honor has been stinky, the Briscoes were still just
yeah.
Briscoe.
Well, that is the other. I mean, it's like the least important part of it because God, it's just such a tragedy in every which way, and the fact that it fucking hurts Ring of Honor means nothing in the grand scheme of things. But even to that point, the Briscoe, it's just brutal. It's just fucking, it's the worst. It is absolutely terrible. That was a sad note to end the show. My bad. I just miss
we love
so
the Briscoes.
bad.
Yeah, man. We just love the Briscoes.
While we're talking about this, and I've already made people sad. I'll just commit to I was watching that Collision match last week, and I was just like, they would be all over this show together.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it just made me sad. I just miss them dearly. It's like as together. I love seeing Mark, and I'm going to miss him from injury, but it just fucking sucks.
Yeah, man, absolutely. Even just the injury to Mark, it's just I was still getting, my Briscoe pop out of Mark, absolutely. I adored Joe, I adored him as a tag team, and everything Joe's just said is absolutely right. They would have been killing it on Collision, right now, but obviously, that was taken away from us, and it's it's devastating, but we can always reminisce on the golden days of Ring of Honor and the Briscoes, for better or for worse, through the good times and the bad times that definitely existed in Ring of Honor. They were always great, pretty much, from day one, literally day one. So
they were Ring of Honor when it comes down to it.
So on that note, I think I'm actually quite motivated to go watch some. I might watch the. I don't know, the third ever fucking Ring of Honor show. What's the one when he, Joe Briscoe versus, what's his name, bro? The tinfoil hat guy.
Manny the Hooper.
Not Manny the Hooper, bro. Spanky, bro.
Spanky.
Oh, Brian Kendrick.
Brian Kendrick, boom.
Yeah.
Might have to load that one up,
Kendrick.
Joe Briscoe making him bleed all over the place. Anyway, shout out Joe Briscoe, love him forever and ever. Appreciate everyone who's been watching. Please like, subscribe. Please make sure you like. I know I always bang on. And if you have liked, I apologise, but if you haven't liked, make sure you like on the way out. Subscribe if you haven't already. Appreciate all the super chats. Please turn on our post notifications. Go subscribe and follow us over on Twitch. We have been killing it over there lately. A lot of watch alongs, mainly hosted by AO. We're going to try to get some Hulbert content over there. We're going to try to get some Ibu content over there. We're going to try to get Maddie playing Fort Forever over there. We're going to be trying to do all kinds of stuff over there.
Yes.
So yeah, follow us. Again, like this video on your way out. It will be much, much appreciated. And finally, if nobody's got any plugs real quick, ... No, we're good. But that's us. Appreciate you one last time, and see you next time. Peace.